What I like to do is start with a little screen that says starting soon. I didn't this week because I hit the wrong button. Little peek behind the curtain there for you. In case anyone was wondering what that was about. I hit the button too fast. As is, it's the type of mistake you make when you're a professional new media streamer type like me. You can stop rioting about this in particular, although I would seldom discourage rioting. Sorry, my throat's all scratchy. Hold on, let me get a sip of water. Didn't have time for my vocal exercises. I carried the married character over the barrier. I legit had a dream a few days back that you did a live stream on Nerdrotic. That's super weird. What else happened in the dream? Did anyone die? Because it could have been a premonition. Let me just finish opening up the windows that I normally do while the starting soon screen is up. Time to get Nerdrotic. I'm pretty sure that is the joke of his name, right? And I think that's a question we can. So yeah, I should. We're going to be looking at Nerdrotic, who is an extremely toxic nerd. He's the worst. He hates everything that he loves. He seems like a deeply sad man. If you watched the He-Man stream or the stream highlights video, that was the panel discussion. And what got me to consider doing a whole stream on this fool, recently he had a discussion where the Quartering was also present, my best friend and large adult son, the Quartering, where they were joined by Alex Jones. And I thought, oh, this guy's hit the big leagues. He's bigly in the big leagues. So I thought it was time that we got a stream devoted to him and all of his cool ideas and the cool stuff he thinks. So that was the genesis. That's where I got this idea. Really just the run-of-the-mill capital G gamer? No, if anything, he is so angry about everything. But in this, like, can you believe these wokelets are doing this? Can you believe this is a type of way? You'll see. You'll see. I'll be honest, I haven't watched a lot of his content, but I've watched a lot of guys like him. I'm also wearing my glasses today so that no one can accuse me of being a fake nerd girl, as was my fear. What did I think of Ghostbusters 2016? I thought it was pretty good. It's, not as good as the original Ghostbusters. Better than Ghostbusters 2. And that movie heavily features slime, so it brings me no peace of mind to say that. But I would love to say that it was like a misunderstood masterpiece, but because like there was that whole like nonsense culture war about it, but like it was fine. 8 out of 10. Like, watch it or don't. Who cares? These glasses are nice. Where from? Zenny Optical, baby. These are $20 frames. Actually, it was $20 with the lenses, even. And it's only even that expensive because I got like the anti-reflective lenses. You're a nerd? Name 5 nerds. Okay. Me, 5 times. Checkmate. Checkmate's a chess thing, by the way. Non-nerds probably don't know that. Sometimes, whenever I have a stream that's actually about something, I like to wait a little bit before I get to it. Because otherwise, people pile in and they're like, just got here, what are we watching? It's in the title. It's in the title of the stream. Dot Slime, love you, comrade. Flag bread. Thank you for loving me. I'm also playing chiptunes, the nerdiest music. This is a celebration of nerd culture. Is Any Optical a Canadian brand? I don't know. I am not paid to advertise Any Optical. I don't know if maybe the glasses are bad. But like I've had these glasses for years and they've always been fine. I'm not particularly careful with my glasses. I'm just always leaving them everywhere. My wife is always threatening to sit on them. In that, like, I'll put them on the couch where a normal person would sit, and she keeps telling me, one of these days, I'm going to sit on them by accident, and it'll be all your fault. And I'm like, okay, I will spend another $20 to get a new pair if it comes to that. That's better than spending the time to put my glasses somewhere carefully all of the time. I'm a nerd girl, don't hit on me, you silly boys. That's what are your pronouns? Just whatever pronouns you got lying around. I'm just happy to be referred to at all. Don't worry about it. It's great to see an Ontario native do YouTube. I am not an Ontario native. I'm sorry to tell you. I am originally from St. John's, Newfoundland. I moved to Toronto in my mid-20s. All right. Enough dalliance. You know what I need is I need one of those fancy stream decks so that I can turn Spotify off without having to navigate Windows. And by need, I mean don't need whatsoever. But I like to have toys. How did you know my full name was Me 5 times? Me isn't even a name. I don't get this joke at all. I mean, I get it completely. That's not the one. This is the one. Morning from Australia. Is it morning in Australia? Everything's topsy-turvy down there. It's the middle of the night. When you cross the equator, it becomes morning. It's the Coriolis effect. Just got here. What are we watching? Ooh. Ooh. So this one, I figured chat would like this. A lot of these are going to be Marvel focused because I watch a lot of Marvel shit, so I will be able to actually talk about it intelligibly. But this one is Marvel's What If Episode 1 review. And then line, more Disney Plus garbage. Which is great because what you do if you want someone to watch your videos, you should always right away tell them exactly what you think in the first sentence so that there's no tension. For those that didn't watch What If Episode 1, and for those that are not familiar with just like Marvel in general, basically the first one was what if instead of Captain America, it was Girl? Girl becomes strong. Girl punch the Nazis, but then later an octopus kills her, is the story on that one. And I thought it was fine. I'm not big on the what if. I thought the last episode was pretty good, but I can't imagine any grown adult getting mad about it because it's specifically just like non-canon, just fun, silly stuff in the side that it won't affect anything else. Like, why are you mad? Okay, let's watch.
Nerdrotic.com.
First question I have for What If is...
How's the sound?
Is this post-Kang or pre-Kang? Is there a Kang in this multiverse? We do know that there's a multiverse now. We also know that Kevin Feige started to establish rules for the multiverse after it was created. That's kind of like calling the architect after you started building the house.
One thing I will say for this man, one thing that I think that I'm actually impressed by, and and this is how low the bar is for me right now. He is wearing a little Captain America shirt, so I like that he coordinated his outfit to talk about this. Let's move these alerts, shall we? Move them down here. It makes more sense if they're down here. You can't see where I'm moving them until I get an alert.
Yes, I'm in Las Vegas. Yes, the room is echoey, but duty calls. Let's talk about some Disney.
He's calling me. His room's echoey. He's fucking perfect audio. Whereas I sound like I'm in a cave.
Marvel. What if Captain America had a woman's head and did everything better? That's what If is. Now, this was one of my favorite comic books as a kid. I remember What If number 1, What If...
Nobody's favorite comic books were What If. That's just a straight up lie. What If comics fucking sucked.
Spider-Man was a member of the Fantastic Five, which was technically called What If Spider-Man Joined the Fantastic Four. And there were great comics, a classic, What If Gwen Stacy Had Lived, What If Elektra Had Lived. There was Volume 2 that introduced Spider-Girl. It was a fun series. So what does Kevin Feige and company...
So he likes Spider-Girl, but he is mad about Captain America being a woman. It's fine if you do it to Spider-Man.
Over at Disney Marvel decide to do with this show, their first animated show that could explore the infinite possibilities within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They do what they've been doing all along, deconstruct. So what is What If on the wheel of agenda? It's a little bit of intersectional feminism and a lot of deconstructing gender norms. So
oh no, they shouldn't have done that. It should have been the toys fighting. They tried to make it about things, and I'm like, I just want to watch the toys fight like in my comic books. Still quite low. All right.
Gather around, kids. Let's have some fun. Essentially, What If Captain Carter was the first Avenger is Captain America, the first Avenger, condensed down to a half an hour with some noticeable differences, including the hero's journey, everything that led up to Steve Rogers becoming Captain America, which is what makes him Captain America, not the serum. That is...
No, it's the serum. It's very clearly the serum. You know how I know? Is because he's not Captain America in this one. Because he didn't get the serum. He becomes Iron Man instead. So it is actually the serum that makes him Captain America. Otherwise, he's just a nice man.
Well established in the comics and the MCU. Agent Carter is a likable character. And again, in isolation, I probably wouldn't have a problem with this, but this isn't an...
You absolutely would, you fucking liar. There's nothing... This is the most like milk... I always say milk toast, but I think it's supposed to be pronounced Melva toast. I don't know if those two words are the same thing. But it was the most inoffensive, just... What if a different person was Captain America? It's a lady, and the story wouldn't make sense if a woman becomes Captain America and everybody's just cool with it. I know she's not. She's British, so she'd be Captain Britain. But Captain Britain is a different character in Marvel Comics, so just go with it. The story wouldn't make sense that if this woman in the fucking 40s becomes a superhero, everybody would question that because people had very sexist ideas back then. Everybody would be like, a girl can't be strong. You couldn't make that story and not acknowledge that. And I think so like it isn't just Marvel having an agenda.
Isolation. This is essentially the same theme we just saw in Black Widow, the same thing we just saw in Loki, the same thing we saw in WandaVision, and of course the Falcon and Winter Soldier, the same thing we're going...
What? How is... What did we see in all of those properties?
To see in Hawkeye, I imagine we'll probably see it in Shang-Chi as well.
You know, times are changing. Ladies can do stuff now.
Agent Carter becomes Captain Carter because of one single decision, according to this show. In Captain America, the First Avenger, Dr. Erskine asks Agent Carter to go up to the booth with everyone else, including Colonel Phillips, while they conduct the experiment.
He's saying this like it's sinister. That's only one thing led her to become the super soldier. It's the premise of the show, sir. That is the premise of the show. Hello to Raiders from Bad Bunny. I am Thought Slime. I make videos about slime, feces, genitalia, and other thing, typically considered ugly. I was once a kid like you until I found Evil Gorgo's magic jewel. Now every time I sneeze, I'm a monster by mistake. We're watching a mean nerd get mad about cartoons today.
In this episode, they have everyone just standing around. Now, they said it was just her decision that changed history, but it was everyone else's decision to not go to the booth. But
why don't they get the credit for? They also made decisions. Why does she get all of the credit?
We don't need to be concerned with little details like that. Why?
You fucked up, Marvel. You fucked up. You said it was her decision, but in fact, it was everybody's. You fucked up this time, buddy.
Should I? If Marvel isn't, obviously Kang willed it. So the Hydra agent sets off the explosion prior to the experiment. Steve Rogers tries to stop him and gets shot, and that's what leads up to Peggy Carter becoming Captain Carter, and then she is off to experience sexism and beat the crap out of a lot of Nazis. Steve Rogers survives getting shot, and Dr. Erskine is killed.
Here's the thing: is he's making it out like she's. It's so like, oh, she just kicked all this Nazi ass, and she's so much better at it than Steve Rogers. They specifically made Steve Rogers become Iron Man in this cartoon, which if you watched Captain America, you might have noticed that Peggy Carter does not become Iron Man at any point in the movie. It's kind of implying that Steve Rogers is destined to be a superhero no matter what. I don't think it's really saying that he's like, what a loser. How boring would it be if he were Captain America?
In the explosion, or at least I think he is, because they don't bring him up at all after that. Of course, Captain Carter is a better Captain America. She fights better. She's stronger. She's throwing cars around with one hand. And of course...
What are you basing it on that she's better? She does all of the stuff that Captain America does. She's not throwing cars around one-handed, buddy.
Of course, she punches a Nazi in the balls. Other noticeable differences aside from, again, her being a...
I'm tired of these shows emasculating Nazis.
Much more powerful Captain America, and we'll talk about that in a second, is she is able to get the Tesseract back. That's right, she gets the Tesseract back, and Howard Stark constructs an Iron Man suit for Steve Rogers. They go off to kill more Nazis. She's jumping around from plane to plane, flying through the sky with Iron Steve Rogers. There's still a relationship between Captain Carter and Steve Rogers, but those roles have been reversed, and there's still...
What? How? What? How are the role of who is the big strong one? That's the premise of the episode.
A subplot of a dance in their future, but we all know who's leading it. The Red Skull's still in it.
Steve is, probably. It's fine.
Of course, not voiced by Hugo Weaving, and Captain America is not voiced by Chris Evans. Now, somehow the Red Skull is still able to maintain power, although he does not have the Tesseract. Now, it wouldn't be a Disney Plus show without a toxic white male character, and this one is voiced by Bradley Whitford, playing Colonel John Flynn from the Agent Carter Marvel short. We also have Bucky and the Howling Commandos, and yes, almost every character in this show, and this is pretty impressive, is voiced by the people who played them in the films, except for the aforementioned Hugo Weaving and Chris Evans.
Yeah, they didn't get the two people you would care about, but they did get everybody else. Don't worry, they got Bradley Whitford in this one. Didn't get Tommy Lee Jones? Feels like they could have gotten Tommy Lee Jones. They didn't.
Now, to one up Captain America just one more time, yes, Captain Carter saves Bucky. Now they redo the...
but then loses Steve. Like, it's a 1-to-1.
Train scene from Captain America, the First Avenger, with one notable difference. I mean, aside from Captain Carter being superior to Captain America in every single way and saving Bucky.
It's so weird to even argue it, right? Because even if it were true, even if they made her a better Captain America, so what? So what, dude? It's a cartoon. You know? Like, why be mad about it? These aren't real people.
Iron Steve Rogers, who supposedly sacrifices himself because the train ended up being a trap. They lose Steve and the Tesseract. Howard Stark, Bucky, and the Howling Commandos, along with Captain Carter, go to stop the Red Skull. They find out Steve Rogers is still alive. They're able to repower the Iron Steve Rogers suit, and the Red Skull is indeed using the Tesseract to open up a portal to bring in a tentacled Hydra Eldritch God, which ends up killing him.
Shumagorath, fake nerd, fake nerd, fake nerd.
Immediately, but no problem. Agent Carter is on the case, and again, because she is a much more powerful Captain America, she is able to push a god, an Eldritch God, and all of his or her tentacles back into their dimension.
I feel like we've never seen the regular Captain America try to do that. And also, I don't know if you fucking noticed, but it's supposed to mirror what actually happened. It's like 1-to-1. She's like, everything that happens to him also happens to her, but in a different way. So like her pushing it back, which she's like struggling to do, is the equivalent of like Captain America having to fly the bombs and getting trapped in an icicle.
Unfortunately, Agent Carter goes with the god, and Agent Carter reappears 70 years in the future in the place of Loki in the Avengers with Nick Fury and Hawkeye. She is now the first Avenger and a much better Captain America. Now, I don't know.
I really don't feel like that came across on the show. Like, I know that he's trying to make it into like these woke feminists are ruining my cartoons, but I did not get the impression from that episode that she was meant to be a better Captain America. But for the record, she has military training instead of just like basic training that Steve Rogers got for like a week. And when she gets the serum, she's like a regular healthy person, whereas he's a sickly little twerp. So it would make sense that she's bigger and stronger. And she's also like meant to be a super genius. So she should be pretty good at being a Captain America.
Know what you would need the Avengers for, since Captain Carter showed up where Loki was supposed to, but Kang will work that out somewhere. As far as the quality of the show goes, well, the voice acting, the storytelling, and the animation were pedestrian at best and forgettable at worst, but that might be the best for us. Is it the worst thing that's...
This superhero cartoon is so pedestrian. It doesn't live up to my high standards.
The MCU has put out, not even in the last few weeks, but that's the thing. It's just another bad show amongst a lot of bad shows and a bad movie. The MCU is a shadow of its former self. Hell, it's become a parody of itself. 2021 is the year we were going to get the most Marvel, and we already have, and I'm wishing we didn't. And what's up with the female head?
Just simply stop watching. Do not consume. Simply watch something else. Marvel is not forcing you to watch these movies. They could, if they could, they would do that. Absolutely, but they can't yet. So just simply do not watch the television program that upsets you so.
Head on a male body thing. First we had the Taskmaster, then we had Tila in the Tila show that was called He-Man because Kevin Smith.
Why girl have muscles? Girls should not have muscles. Boy have muscles. I'm so sick of girl have muscles. When I was a kid, all of my toys, all of the girls were very small and all of the boys were very big, and I didn't have any sorts of confusing feelings about them. It didn't make me feel all funny.
And now we have Captain Carter. I can't decide if this is a trend or some new Hollywood kink. I'm trying to think of better titles than What If Captain Carter Was the First Avenger? Maybe What If Captain Carter Fought Nazis and Sexism? Or What If a Male Feminist Wrote the Captain America Origin?
Oh man, fucking got him. He's so quick with the zingers. That's what you get from this guy.
I still think What If Captain America Had a Female Head fits better. So, no, I didn't like this show. Hopefully the other ones will be a lot better, but the animation's
you're still going to watch, huh?
Not too sure about that. Tell me what you guys thought. I am back to vacation. I will resume making videos when I get back. There will be a Friday Night Tights. Hope you all have a great day, and skip this one, save yourself a half an hour, or 25 minutes and 10 minutes of credits. See you next time.
We take your own advice. Take your own advice and simply don't watch. There are so many television shows. Even if Disney Plus is the only way you have to watch television shows, you got It's Always Sunny on there. I've been watching that. Just watch that instead. You have a great time. Lots of laughs. Now, I'm excited about this one. Well, actually, no. Let's do this. Okay. This is one about Doctor Who. Now, if you know Doctor Who, he's a silly man who time travels in a phone booth, and I'm deliberately calling it a phone booth, even though I know it's a police box, because I know that people get mad, and that will increase my engagement. Doctor Who, the reboot from 2009. Is that when it started? I don't know, but it was originally written by Russell T Davies, and everybody agreed that he wasn't very good at it. It wasn't very good. And he's back. He's back to run the show because the show hasn't been as popular lately, simply because it hasn't been good in like 7 years. So he's back. Everybody's pumped that the guy who wrote the one where a woman gets encased in a block of concrete, but don't worry, she can still give blowjobs. He's back on the case. He's going to fix up Doctor Who. He's going to make Doctor Who a boy again so that I can relate to Doctor Who. I couldn't before. I need my two-hearted alien that sees through time to be a boy so that I find him relatable. But when it is girl, I'm sorry, it's simply a Mary Sue. Why is she good at everything? Only the boy Doctor Who should be good at everything. So I'm excited about Russell, the boys Davies coming back, and so is Nerdrotic, and he's got some opinions on that one. Let's find out what they are.
Nerdrotic.com.
I just got up, and I have to admit, I'm completely shocked. Did not see.
First of all, this is the first glimpse we've gotten of this. Just observe all of these toys. Oh, he's wearing a Doctor Who shirt. I will give him this. He does coordinate his wardrobe, and I find that quite charming. I like that when he's like, oh, time to film a Doctor Who video, he like goes to his closet and like, where are my Doctor Who shirts? Here we go. All right, here we, and I'll just stand in front of my room full of toys with a webcam hooked up, I guess. Couldn't bother. So this is a set I think that would look really cool if he set up a DSLR camera and had like a depth of field effect behind him. That could look kind of cool. Maybe put some like colored lights in the background. But instead, it's just like a greasy webcam just shooting him flat so that all of the toys are in focus so that your eye doesn't know where to look. This is a bit of a petty criticism, but it's just he has so many toys in the shot. It's hard not to remark upon them.
This coming, and part of me wants to be really excited about this. I'm going to be cautiously optimistic, expecting the worst, hoping for the best, because Russell T Davies is returning to Doctor Who. Had to pinch myself, make sure I wasn't still sleeping. First thing that comes to mind is BBC, welcome to the meritocracy. You actually
I must know what that means.
Competition now. You're getting crushed. And what that requires is innovation. And while you're still on the public teat, if you want to survive, you need to do things like hire back Russell T Davies.
Okay. To diagram out that sentence. So while you're still on the public teat, you need to compete with all of the other private. First of all, bud, there have been other television programs in the UK. There's been other networks for a long time, and like the fact that they are on the public teat instead of the private teat means they don't have to worry about that. They can literally just turn out the worst shit imaginable that nobody watches, and it's fine. They're still funded. Everyone who buys a TV license in the UK is getting their teats chomped on.
Which proves that the BBC is in big trouble. They are bleeding customers. That's what.
They must be in. The BBC is about to go under because they retooled one of their shows. No network has ever done that. Like fucking 16 years into a show's run. The only reason to do that is if you are they're bleeding customers, even though everyone legally who owns a TV license does pay into the BBC. They are bleeding customers to their competition and the private teats that they can suck on.
That's right. Customers, although they were required to pay you, they still had the option to bail, and it's much easier now than ever because you offer nothing, BBC. Not that there's much better out there at this time.
I don't think you're the BBC's target demographic. I think geographically, you might be missing some of their key demographic aspects.
My hope every day for this channel is that we eventually come across a good piece of entertainment, a good movie,
Every day. Every day I drop to one knee and I say, Lord, please put one entertaining thing on the BBC.
TV show, and I can review it and enjoy it, because that's what I initially set out to do here.
Is to review programs exclusively from the British Broadcasting Corporation. But that was the original plan of this channel, but now I've moved on to complaining that girl have muscles. So that's been my thing lately, but I still hold out hope.
And seeing Russell T Davies come back, I mean, I'm a fan. I'm going to automatically be optimistic. Let's go over this article because I do have some major concerns and I do have some questions. But if you're a Doctor Who fan, you're pretty stoked today.
I would consider myself a Doctor Who fan. I am at best ambivalent to this news. I think Doctor Who weren't good when Russell T Davies was showrunner. I think that needs to be acknowledged.
And you guys deserve it, especially after the disastrous 2 seasons of Chibnall Doctor Who, with the first female doctor played by Jodie Whittaker, who we will lovingly call Dr. Karen, and we still have one, thankfully, very...
You don't get to do that. That's so fucked up.
Short season to go, which I think is coming up soon, which I will be reviewing. And yes, this is a low tier video. We will talk about this more on Friday Night Tights. I'm not sure how much It's a Gundam's going to want to talk about this, but that's the way it goes sometimes. Screenwriter Russell T Davies is to take charge again of Doctor Who, the sci-fi show he helped revive in 2005. Davies, who was the fantasy drama's showrunner until 2009, will take over when Chris Chibnall departs next year. Don't let the TARDIS door hit you on the ass on the way out. And the same...
Motherfucker! You piece of shit! Don't let the TARDIS hit you on the ass! Fuck!
Same goes for you, first female doctor played by Jodie Whittaker, who we will lovingly call Dr. Karen.
Oh yeah, gotta get that joke in there twice. Make sure that you really land that one. Hey, you were probably laughing too hard the first time I said it. That's my new catchphrase.
I'm beyond excited to be back on my favorite show, said Davies, who resumes his role as the show prepares to mark its 60th anniversary in 2023. Now, I did see the tweet announcing that he was coming back, and, well, I'm not sure if it meant for multiple seasons or one. It kind of looks like it's just one. It looks like to me that he's returning for the...
To me, what it looks like what it seems like, what it looks like from the tweet. I've gone over the tweet and I've looked at all of the serifs on all the letters, and I've looked at it, and what it looks like to me is that it's one. It's just one.
60th anniversary and a series following. It didn't say multiple series. It said series. Now, we call them seasons here in the States. So let's see if they talk about that here. One of the first responsibilities will be to get rid of the timeless children, to decide who takes over the TARDIS following Jodie Whittaker's exit. No, the first thing you have to do is answer this question. Who was the first Doctor? And the only answer is William Hartnell.
Yeah. As opposed to... I should... Is there, in the recent season of Doctor Who, have they gone back and like retconned that there was a Doctor before William Hartnell? Is this what he's complaining about?
And if that isn't the only answer, then this is all just a waste of time. The actress is set to hang up her sonic screwdriver after one more...
That's how women talk. Women talk all weak like that. Not like men, big manly men like David Tennant talk. They talk all weak.
6-part series and 3 2022 specials. Now, are the ratings going to tick up because of this announcement? I think so, especially as it gets closer to the 60th anniversary, but that's still a long way off. Now, a few months ago, I put up a list of murdered franchises in...
Okay, here we go. List of murdered franchises in order of severity. Doctor Who, Star Wars, He-Man, Star Trek. The MCU is a work in progress. Could shoot to number 1. I love the idea that like everything he loves is being taken from him. Everything, all of his toys, he goes to his big room of toys, the only thing that brings him any joy in this sin-cursed earth. And the SJWs are out there putting girls in all of these shows, and he can't even watch the cartoons that he wanted to watch because all of the franchises got murdered by wokelets. They ruined Doctor Who because the bad season, which Doctor Who never had a bad season before. The show is ruined. The show is ruined.
Order of severity. Number 4, Star Trek. Number 3, He-Man. Number 2, Star Wars. Now those could change, but number 1 isn't going to change.
So this is not official. They could change. I might have said this. I'm not holding myself to it. In the future, I may come to believe that actually Star Wars was more murdered than Doctor Who.
They not only meddled with the past, they destroyed it, and they planned it from the beginning because
the past no longer exists. We are all floating through an empty void now. We're unmoored from any sense of culture or identity because Doctor Who is girl. They destroyed the past. They didn't simply change it. They destroyed it. I can't even watch old Doctor Who episodes anymore because Doctor Who is girl. The old episodes just never happened. They're gone. They're erased. I ask people, remember the one where the concrete lady can still give blowjobs? They're like, what are you talking about? That didn't happen. Doctor Who is girl.
From the beginning, the first female doctor played by Jodie Whittaker, who we will lovingly call Dr. Karen.
Oh, fuck it. Gets funnier every time. I love that. I love that he lovingly calls her Dr. Karen. That's so funny.
Wouldn't work. And that showed with how much work they actually put into the Timeless Children. They undid 56 plus years of canon in a 5-minute montage with the voiceover. The actors in it didn't speak a line of dialogue. And just in case you're here for me, so hi, Mom, and hi, Mrs. Nerdrotic, and not here for Doctor Who, and you don't know what I'm talking about. The first Doctor was originally William Hartnell, but now it's a portal baby. It's an abandoned portal baby, a little black girl. We don't know her name. She's not a Time Lord. And they did this to create new stories. Well, the
They're always creating new stories when what I want is the same story that I already know, told to me over and over. I like to be spoon-fed the same slop. This is my problem with it. It's fine that it was poorly written. It's fine that it doesn't make any sense. What bothers me is they're trying to tell new stories when, I don't know if you noticed, there are already stories.
In my last video, I just talked about this. I believe bringing in original characters or using a female character from the lore, like the Ronnie or Ramana or Jenny or Susan, and you could have done a separate series and people would have loved it and followed it. And then you could still make Doctor Who and you would have Doctor Who year around. But no, they had to take something away. This was about the message.
But this isn't even the first time that they've inserted it into the timeline like that. Like they put John Hurt in there. Did this guy complain that much about John Hurt getting put between the seventh and what's it, the seventh and eighth Doctor? Or no, it's the eighth and ninth. Because friggin' Christopher Eccleston's 9. Paul McGann is 7. Or is Sylvester What's-His-Face 7, and then Paul McGann is 8. Anyway, they've inserted a doctor. They put they jammed one in there in the canon in the past. This isn't unprecedented.
Statement, however, Davies said it would be time traveling too fast to speculate on what will happen when he returns. There's still a whole series of the first female Doctor, played by Jodie Whittaker, who we will lovingly call Dr. Karen, that we all have to
Oh, I didn't see it coming that time.
Suffer through. With his friend and hero Chris Chibnall at the helm, he continued, I'm still a viewer for now. Chibnall said it was monumentally exciting and fitting that Davies would be back in charge for the series' 60th birthday after you completely destroyed it. Do you think Russell T. Davies would be back if Chris Chibnall's Doctor Who was even a mediocre success at this point?
Yeah, probably. Probably, yeah.
I don't think so. I recall Russell T. Davies not coming back for the 50th, and I know Moffat asked him back all the time, and he said no, curious as to why he is returning now.
Yeah, probably the reason he's coming back, if I had to guess, because this is how adults behave, is he got so mad at how bad the show is now that he was forced to come back. That's probably it. It couldn't be that the BBC offered him more money. It's probably just as a fan, he's as impotently angry as I am.
Russell built the baton that is about to be handed back to him. Yeah, one that's like scotch taped together, the writer and producer continued. Davies revived Doctor Who in its current incarnation with Christopher Eccleston as the Doctor and remained for David Tennant's time as the Doctor. And series 1 through 4 with the specials are legendary. My all-time favorite.
Fucking legendary. Remember the Concrete Lady? Remember that one? With the Absorbaloff? Remember that?
Television. Right up there with Buffy, Angel, Battlestar Galactica, The Twilight Zone.
Oh, all famously shows that, The Twilight Zone notwithstanding, all famously shows that maintained a level of quality over their run. Battlestar Galactica, for example, completely consistent. From beginning to end, it stays exactly as good. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, not a bad episode in the bunch. Try and find one. Try and find a bad season of that show. You can't do it.
What some people call Star Trek, the original series, but I just call it Star Trek. I just watched series 1 a couple of weeks ago. Dalek is a work of genius. I ended up talking to Mahler about it for a couple of hours in a Discord. We should have probably recorded that. People might have liked that. And maybe we'll do that in the future. But you can't go home again. There's a lot of factors behind Russell T. Davies' success. Aside from his immense talent, Stephen Moffat was there all along the way, and he had a pretty good team.
Didn't Stephen Moffat write like 3 episodes while Russell T. Davies was showrunner?
of writers, plus Murray Gold. Is Murray Gold coming back? He has to come back. And let's keep in mind that was a decade ago. A lot of time has passed. We obviously live in a different world, and it's a different BBC. Stephen Moffat took over when Matt Smith took on the role, staying to supervise Peter Capaldi's stint as TV's indefatigable Time Lord. The success of Doctor Who's relaunch led Davies...
I'm so mad that this dude has such a cool voice. Can I just say that? Because look, I know we're here to make fun of this guy. But credit where credit is due. He's got a very deep, good voice for what he does. And it's wasted on someone with zero insight.
To create 2 spin-off shows, Torchwood, which was half a good show, and the Sarah Jane Adventures.
I liked Torchwood, except then they made a cyber woman. Cyberman is man, not girl.
It was a pretty good show. I enjoyed it. After leaving the show...
Wasn't the Sarah Jane Adventures like for preschoolers? Wasn't that like a little educational show for little babies?
In 2009, Davies enjoyed more acclaim with TV dramas Years and Ears and A Very English Scandal and It's a Sin. Piers Wenger, complete douchebag, the BBC's director of drama and head idiot, said the news of Davies' return would delight Doctor Who fans across the globe. And it has. But even as I'm reading this article, the reality is setting in. We are thrilled.
Nothing can make me happy. Nothing. The world has been too sullied by Girl Doctor, and now, even knowing that my favorite guy is back to write my favorite show, I feel nothing but anxiety.
That Russell is returning to Doctor Who to build on the huge achievements of...
And I have to say, it has nothing to do with the fact that I only make money if I can complain about wokelets ruining all my shows. That doesn't influence my opinion at all. That has nothing to do with it. It's just what it is that it's just that there's like an agenda that crosses every single thing that I like, and every single person that touches anything that I like, they all share the same agenda and the same ideology, and they're all just there to destroy culture and all of the best, most important and influential works of culture, like He-Man. And that's what's going on there.
Chris and Jody. Continued head idiot and moron, Piers Wenger. Russell, it's wonderful to have you back. At 2 RTD, are you really going to build on the achievements of Chris and Jody if destroying a multiple decade-old franchise is an achievement? Well, I guess it kind of is. You have to try to be that bad. You have to...
I stopped watching Doctor Who because I'm like, I'm not enjoying this anymore. I know for a fact that if you don't think the show is going well, you can simply not watch anymore, which is what I did.
Try to piss off that many fans. Well, this explains why they didn't go with J. Michael Straczynski, because this will be the only name that would satisfy Doctor Who fans, because if they got some nobody, they would be raging right now.
Okay, all right. So J. Michael Straczynski is a nobody, and it's worth pointing out that J. Michael Straczynski created She-Ra, and that how they're always complaining about the new She-Ra doesn't stick to the old canon. The guy who made that old canon was the guy you just called a nobody. He also wrote Babylon 5. He had a great run on Spider-Man that also had some bullshit in it, but he's a very famous science fiction writer.
Now, but as the BBC says right here, what a coup. Davies' return was also welcomed by Bad Wolf, the production company founded in 2015 by former BBC executive Julie Gardner and Jane Trantner. Gardner and Trantner both worked with Davies on the Doctor Who relaunch and will collaborate with him again when he returns as showrunner, which at least confirms Murray Gold is coming back. We are delighted to be joining Russell T. Davies.
So you didn't read this article before filming this, huh? Because earlier you just had a big thing about we don't know if Murray Gold is coming back. And now it's like, this confirms that Murray Gold is back. So you just spun up the old article, started reading, didn't read it beforehand to have some idea of what you were going to be talking about.
Davies on a looped ontological paradox, said the Bad Wolf Twitter. Where Russell goes, we are proud to follow. With BBC Studios, Bad Wolf will be producing the all-new series of Doctor Who. It is a privilege to be asked to support him in Doctor Who's future. Doesn't really say how long they are staying. And here is that tweet from Doctor Who, Russell T. Davies.
Most of his viewers would not remember a writer's name from 15 years ago. Everything about his channel is all about celebrating shit from 15 years ago. And also, yes, they absolutely would, because do you know who started writing Doctor Who 15 years ago? Russell T. Davies.
Return as Doctor Who showrunner to celebrate the 60th anniversary in 2023 and series beyond. BBC Studios are partnering with Bad Wolf to produce. So, and series beyond could be interpreted both ways, multiple series or one. I'm thinking it's one. I could be wrong. Like I said before,
what it looks like to me is, if you analyze it, it's one, but also I could be wrong. So basically this sentence has no purpose to exist.
Expect the worst and hope for the best, but the deal breaker remains.
I'm in the wrong business. You know, I spent about 12 hours yesterday alone, and that's just editing, and I had to put in another 4 today. And that's not even touching like filming, writing, and that's just one Thought Slime video. All of that. This guy just sees a tweet, doesn't read an article, turns on his webcam, positions it in front of his toys. Hey everybody, looks like the good writer's back on the sci-fi show I like. So let's get into what that means. Did I mention that the girl doctor is a Karen? Anyway, we're going to do our podcast on Friday. I'll see you then.
Remains the timeless children. You need to put the past back where it belongs. I don't care how you retcon it. The Doctor is from Gallifrey. He is a Time Lord, and the first Doctor is William Hartnell. And until that happens, I'm out. I don't care who they bring back. But I'm not going to blame anyone for being happy. You enjoy this moment because you haven't had many over the last couple of years. And maybe...
Yeah, you enjoyed this, Russell T. Davies, in your miserable little life. You've had nothing. You've been so sad, but you have this one thing. Finally, some reason for Russell T. Davies to live.
This is a sign of things turning around. That remains to be seen. There is still a lot of time to speculate. Is RTD coming back for just 1 year? Is this just an anniversary season, or is it a soft reboot? Again, that remains to be seen.
It's a soft reboot. It's always a soft reboot when the new showrunner comes in. Every time the Doctor changes or a new showrunner comes in, they always do a soft reboot.
Well, I started out this article being cautiously optimistic, and now I am cautiously pessimistic because of the words of one Piers Vanger. RTD is going to build on the success of Chibnall and the first female Doctor played by Jodie Whittaker, but I have to remember that's the same guy who said Doctor...
Oh, he didn't say it. He didn't say it. I love that this dude is like, why isn't this BBC press release dragging this guy, saying what a shitty job he did? Why is this press release acting like the show is still good? They should say that the show is bad in their own press release.
Who under Chibnall editorially had never been better, and we still have a season and 3 specials to suffer through, starring the first female Doctor played by Jodie Whittaker. I will be talking a lot about this on some live streams, including...
Why does he keep saying the first female? No one recalls Peter Capaldi the first Scottish Doctor. Yes, I know David Tennant was Scottish, but he didn't have a Scottish accent when he played the Doctor. You get my point. Why? They're so obsessed with... Like, what does it matter? Like, honest to God, what does it matter?
Including Friday Night Tights and a very special Fury of the Whovians live stream this weekend. Watch out for that on Twitter and on this channel. If you're watching this video in the future, they will be linked in the description.
Oh, man, I totally understand now. I understand why nerds get bullied. I totally get it. I want to send like a thank you basket to all my bullies. You tried. You tried. He's got all of these videos about pop culture, He's got just one that's about Nancy Pelosi for some reason. Nancy Pelosi busted in San Francisco salon as my wife shuts hers down. All right. Let's get a fun one. I want a fun one. Add emotes? Probably not. I've got some emotes. There's an eyeball, a pizza. Boy, it's all just like, it is literally page after page of this show is ruined now. And then like 20 more videos about that show. He is incapable of not watching a television program that he has ceased to enjoy. He's got a daily channel too. Hello. These are all like group discussions. He's got a video where he's with Mahler. Let's... Look at this like 2016 ass YouTube page. How is this not his live channel? He's got a separate live channel. These are all live streams. Did an interview with Alex Jones? He sure did. I'm not going to show that one because unfortunately Alex Jones... this is the second time I've made this mistake. It's not unfortunate that Alex Jones was banned from Twitch. What is unfortunate is that means I can't watch the video and make fun of him, because showing somebody that was banned on Twitch could get your account in trouble. But I think this is a good one, I think. Shang-Chi has called out this channel specifically. His channel is under attack because Shang-Chi himself called out this channel. Yes, we were watching the polished content. Also, just like anyone who thinks YouTube is a meritocracy, look at this. 364,000 people tune in to watch this guy read an article and a tweet and get mad about them. Like, I will be honest. I watch a lot of content that is like this, but good. Like, there's a channel called Mr. Sunday Movies where they do a recap of Marvel's What If every episode after the show airs, but they're like funny and they have insights. They give like opinions, and their opinions are different about different things. And they like point out Easter eggs you might have missed, like fun stuff, just fun stuff that could be in a video instead of just like, yeah, I watched it. The girls had muscles, so it's fucking stupid. Anyway, check out my podcast every Friday. But Shang-Chi, it's Shang-Chi, right? It's not Shang-Chi. I haven't seen the movie yet. I will watch it eventually because I love to consume.
I didn't want to make this video. Ladies and gentlemen, this might be the end for Nerdrotic. This channel is under attack, and it's under attack from a Disney employee. Now, I know that's pretty normal around these parts, but this Disney employee just so happens to be the star of the most important film ever made. The record-breaking, record-smashing first film to feature Asians and an Asian superhero, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
They're so obsessed with anything that features someone who isn't a straight white dude is like, why are they rubbing it in our face? Like, do you remember when this argument used to come up a lot with in terms of gay people? Like, oh, I don't have a problem with gay people. My problem is when they're so in your face about it. If they just like kept it to themselves. And now that's just everything. So, yeah, I get it. Your movie has an Asian in it. Wow. Like, I don't think that simply because the star is Asian, that they are necessarily like rubbing that in people's faces. It's just that that's who the man is. That's who he is. He's on the posters because he's the guy from the movie.
Now, I don't want you to confuse this star with Mengar Zhang, who played Zhe Ling. No, we're talking about her co-star, Simu Liu. This is probably the most important video I've ever made. Please watch it all the way through. And
yes, this is in my lifetime of hard work. This video is probably the most culturally impactful and important thing I've ever done.
Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already.
Nerdrotic.com.
I met Simu. Nice guy. What a bitch. I don't give a if I met you or not. Yeah. This is a podcast. We're going to talk about it topically. And if he wants to have a conversation with later on, you can. Bro, that was the most bitch-made thing I've ever seen in my life.
Shang-Chi has apparently broken some records over the 3-day Labor Day weekend.
Whoa. How is that possible? Oh, apparently it's broken some records. Pfft, big deal. How is that possible? They went woke. They're supposed to go broke.
Smashing films like Rob Zombie's Halloween. Now, I know the analogy has been made that this is equal to, say, Shang-Chi being LeBron James and he goes to a high school and plays one-on-one with a 16-year-old and kicks his ass. I'd say a better analogy would be Shang-Chi is a 15-year-old boys soccer team taking on the women's national team.
What I love about that joke is how many words were in it. I love a joke when you just lay a lot of pipe. Oh, love that. Got to hit that rim shot. Make sure it really punctuates so everybody knows what a good joke you did.
Being said, this channel is actually under attack. It is not hyperbole at all.
Is it? Is it under attack? Because from the looks of it, you got 25K upvotes, 2K downvotes. So it doesn't really seem like you're under attack.
Yeah, it's not actually that unusual at all. Disney employees come after this channel all the time, but usually it's not the star of a Marvel movie. So
what do you do?
I did a live stream
Get
today,
to the point.
Took a little nap because I'm an old man, and when I woke up, I saw the normal Marvel stands in my Twitter feed posting up an image.
These people are just Marvel stands, he says, in front of his wall of action figures. These people will just consume anything Marvel does thoughtlessly, whereas I consume it and then later complain about it for money.
Image of some of our thumbnails with the word flop on it and going, ha ha, and like that's normal. Usually the Marvel stands.
Is he characterizing this as an attack? That the guy was like, you said my movie would flop and it didn't? Gotcha. This is him under attack?
Show up during the first episode of a Disney Plus series or the opening weekend, say, of Black Widow, and then they disappear, and I don't think it's going to be any different here.
This guy pointed out that I was wrong. Let me tell you, we are under attack. Nothing new around here. Disney is always trying to shut me down, but please like and subscribe because this is the most important video I've ever done.
But when I clicked on the image, I saw who actually posted that, and I couldn't believe it. I'm like, did I do something right today? Is it?
Which one is he here? Because your logo is fucking covered up. Yeah, this is you. So he doesn't even show who you are. This is the attack on you. You're not...
Christmas? Simu Liu, the star of Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, the co-star to Mengar Zhang, has decided to call out you...
Did he not know until now that movies have multiple actors? They call him the star of the movie because he's the main character and his character's name is the name of the movie. But there's another lady who's in the movie too.
YouTubers, normal people. Well, I don't know. In my case, semi.
None of you are normal people. None of you are normal people. No YouTuber is a normal person. None of us. None of us are free of sin. We're all the dregs of this earth. You more so than most. If I am a garbage bin, you are the juice at the bottom of a garbage bin.
Normal. Just an idiot with a microphone and an internet connection. Of all the things, this guy is...
Your movie sucks. It's going to fail. You're a bad actor. Well, this guy called me an idiot. Why is he attacking me? Why is he attacking me? What did I do? All I said was a bunch of criticism that his movie was going to flop, and it turns out that it didn't, just because it came out on an important a shitty weekend where there's no other movies.
He's thinking about yours truly and some of my friends. And no, I'm not the only one who was mocked. In this Instagram post, he went after my co-hosts on Friday Night Tights, Az from Heel vs. Babyface, Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers, Ryan, baby boy Ryan from RK Outpost, and our good friend, the Critical Drinker. Who goes after the Critical Drinker? Jeremy from
Who goes after?
Clownfish.
Who goes after this guy who's been dragging you for months? Why would you attack me? It doesn't make any sense.
TV and some others. But that's what you need to remember here. This is the big takeaway, because no, I'm not actually under attack and I'm not bothered by this at all. And
Clearly. Yeah, this guy is so mad. Not me, though. I'm cool about it. But like, if you think about it, this is the most important video I've ever done. And it's not unusual for me to be under attack by Disney employees, and I'm laughing about it. Like, I'm laughing. Like, they're upset, not me though. But can I just say, the only reason this movie is successful is because of the weekend it came out. It's the only reason. Otherwise, it would have been crushed at the box office. But I'm not mad. Don't put in the newspaper that I was mad.
And he's going after us because we're in his head. And why? I mean,
yeah. You're in his head. Yeah, that's what's happening here. He's obsessed with you.
To ask the question why. This guy is starring in a Marvel movie. A historic one, according to Disney Marvel. This guy's got the world at his feet right now.
Why did Disney Marvel's Presents the Avengers featuring Shang-Chi and the Legend of Ten Rings say that movie was historic? What they should have done in their press release for this movie is come out and said, this movie's nothing. Don't bother with this one. You don't have to watch this movie. That's what they should have said in their press release. But they tried to make it sound important. Clearly, this is proof of an SJW agenda.
Is he worried about some YouTubers? Well, I can't get into his head, and I'll speculate on that a little bit later in the video. Maybe he's feeling bad for taking part in a bit of a false narrative. Yes, the film did crush previous Labor Day records, including defeating Rob Zombie's Halloween and Jeepers Creepers 2. But as my good friend Odin from OMB Reviews pointed out, his video will be linked in the description. If you match Shang-Chi up with other MCU openings, it's towards the bottom. And if you adjust...
Looks like it's towards the middle, actually.
inflation, which is very difficult to do because you have to do it hourly these days.
Sorry. It ends here, because these ones aren't released yet. Okay, so it is towards the bottom. Still, the being at the bottom of the Marvel movies. Like, it's above Thor, it's above Captain America and Ant-Man and the Incredible Hulk. The Incredible Hulk is the only one of those that is like not beloved.
It's the third or second.
Jeez, it's almost kind of like when you introduce a new character, audiences are less likely to be interested in them because it's a new character they've never heard about before.
Lowest MCU opening. Now, obviously, Simu didn't watch my video, or he would know that I was covering a Deadline article that was speculating that if Shang-Chi flopped or underperformed.
I didn't say that the movie was going to flop. I simply made a thumbnail that implied it would flop and attached that to my video where I agreed uncritically with an article that said it would flop. I didn't write it myself. I simply read an article. I'm innocent in all of this. And it doesn't bother me that he tweeted about this, but just so you know, get your facts straight, Simu Lee. You should have watched my video without the thesis of which was proven wrong before you said I was wrong. But I'm not bothered. You're probably just obsessed with me.
It could lead to an Eternals delay, which could still happen for a lot of reasons. We're still very early on in this experimental 45-day window. Speaking of that, before I start feeling too special, it looks like this is part of Simu's modus operandi. He's a bit thin-skinned, and he likes to use that to his advantage. Part of being a good adult pretender in Hollywood is being an opportunist. Shang-Chi stars...
Yeah, Simu Lee is the opportunist here. Simu Lee is the one who's he's out there, he's being thin-skinned, whereas I am cool as a cucumber making videos about how they ruined all of my favorite cartoons by putting girls in them when I am a boy and I want to see boys on the cartoons.
Simu Liu on betrayal of Kim's Convenience cancellation. The show ran for 5 seasons, by the way. The show ended after its producers left, but Liu felt it could have continued. It was always our belief that there were other creators of color who could fill the void. Always making it about race, this guy.
What? Yeah, always making it about race. This show about a Korean grocery store. What? Why you gotta make it about race? Just because it's one of the primary focuses of the show. Is examining what it's like to be a Korean person in Canada. Why you gotta make it about race?
Always trying to pull something out of thin air. And he went after Bob Chapek, the CEO of Disney, when he simply said, hey, Shang-Chi is going to be an interesting case for us because this is an experiment. The first one in the 45-day window without the day and day release. And of course, Simu tried to make it about racism.
The main actor, Simu Liu. So I read this article, and it's kind of going over Twitter, it's going on Facebook, and he makes a very interesting statement, right? It says that we are not your experiments, we're a culture, we're all this other stuff. So in my mind, I'm like, well, what's happening with this release right now? Did Disney say some racist shit? And I'm like, okay, what the fuck, right? So I read it, I'm like, oh, this experiment.
Yeah,
I'm like,
well, he simply responded to what they said without giving him an absurd benefit of the doubt. That probably what he meant is Marvel's not used to releasing movies close together like that. That's an experiment for them, you see, is what he meant. He wasn't making it about race. The Simu Liu is completely out of his mind.
well, what does that mean? He says this is going to be an experimental thing for us. And he was talking about the 45-day theatrical release before it goes to the digital, right?
Yeah.
And what in the fuck does that have to do with him talking about Asian
What's wrong
people?
with that?
Well, because, and so I'm like, okay, I met Simu, nice guy. What a bitch. I don't give a fuck if I met you or not. Yeah. This is a podcast. We're going to talk about it topically. And if he wants to have a conversation with me later on, you can't. Bro, that was the most bitch-made thing I've ever seen.
This guy's like, why are they making everything about race? Anyway, look, these Asians agree with me. Look, Simu Lee's making everything about race. And by the way, these Asians agree with me about that.
Seen in my life.
And they go on to talk about all the damage this false virtue signaling does, which is a lot. And considering the country is pretty divided right now, we don't need any more of it. We already get plenty from Disney as a corporation. The political divisions in this country are a result of
Asian actors criticizing Disney executives. If they just cut that shit out, we could maybe move forward, find common ground again.
So I would say it's probably in line to get some from another Disney adult pretender. Now, this isn't about YouTubers. It's about you. That's the bottom line here.
But I'm a YouTuber. It doesn't make any sense. Is it or is it not about YouTubers? Come on.
Probably what bothers him the most, because he knows it's real fans talking about this stuff who are judging Shang-Chi as a superhero film, not as some...
Yeah, but like, I'm a pretty big fan of superheroes, Marvel comics, Marvel films. It looks like a fine movie to me. I haven't watched it yet because I don't really want to go out to a movie theater with the fucking Delta and Move variants out there. But when it comes to video on demand, you bet your behind I'm gonna watch that one. Why not? This is a little guy doing kung fu. It looks like fun. Well, I care.
Asian cultural moment, because that's not what I saw in it. I just saw a bad superhero film, but some people might have seen a good superhero film.
Yeah, I've seen like a million bad superhero movies, bud. It shouldn't bother you this much.
And that's fine. And it isn't about being right or wrong anyway.
Yeah, I don't know why he's trying to make this about how I was wrong simply because I said the movie would flop and it didn't. This isn't about being right or wrong. It's bigger than that. This is about you. If you think about it, he's not criticizing me. What he's doing here is he's criticizing you. So you should be mad. I'm not mad, of course. I'm not bothered by it. It's completely, I just... like water off a duck's back, didn't bother me. But you, the audience, should be very upset about this one.
It's just about being informative, funny, or effective. That's what I'm trying to do on this channel. I'm not going
he nailed all four. Remember that joke about how Doctor Who was Dr. Karen?
to be right all the time. And thank God. It's freeing not to have to be right all the time. It sounds like Simu is a little prickly about that stuff. Here, Simu, you had a good weekend, dude. Take your victory lap. What are you messing with YouTubers for? But hey, thank you.
Literally, this is a 10-minute video about like the guy posted an Instagram where he pointed out that I was wrong and laughed at me. Why are you so obsessed with this? He says, making a 10-minute video responding to a guy's Instagram post. Like, if like, this guy has a bigger platform than I do. I assume he's getting a lot of hate from a lot of people all the time. You don't have to make a video about it every single time.
Appreciate it. See, I am grateful that I was called out by the star of a Marvel movie. I can't wait to tell my kids.
Unless you're a dumbass or you're just an angry, like closeted Asian anger person. Closet not as in gay, but closet as in you're just this Asian person that's just been bullied your whole life. There's absolutely no way you would have taken that statement and misconstrued it as him attacking the Asian community.
That's a reach at its finest.
That is the fuck.
I don't know. I think if someone presented me this statement out of context, they said that if an interviewer doing an interview with me out of context said, hey, this Disney man said that the movie was kind of an experiment for Marvel. What do you make of that? I don't think it's a big stretch to go because what is different about Shang-Chi than other Marvel movies, you know? It's not that it's a superhero movie. So like,
craziest reach I've ever read in my life.
And again, this is the big problem with the identity politics marketing. Disney does this to be critic proof. They use people to deflect criticism to gain more profit. That is the very...
But like, this is the wildest, because like, no one who makes a movie wants the critics to dislike it. And like the idea that, the only reason you would put an Asian as the star of your movie about a kung fu master is because you just don't want people to criticize it, because they can't do that. Like how, for example, famously, no one ever criticized Captain Marvel because Captain Marvel was a woman. It was the first Marvel film with a woman as the main character, and so therefore it was completely uncriticized. No one could criticize it. And let's just Rotten Tomatoes, Captain Marvel. Huh. That's weird. It's only got a 79% critic score. Huh. That's so weird. Michael Sragow, a white man, says, lacking a unifying vision and a charismatic star performance, this film is less a big screen comic than a patchwork quilt. You can't say that. You can't say that. Got a headache after watching the movie? Extremely disappointing? Familiar S? You're a super reviewer? How? You can't say that!
Definition of exploitation. And no, they don't like it when we call it out. Hollywood would absolutely love for us to just shut up and be good little consumers. But unfortunately for them, at least,
I'm gonna take their money and then complain about it. They don't like it. They don't like it when everybody is talking about their movies and their movies are super controversial, getting lots of free attention, and then I pay money to watch them, and so does all of my audience. No, they would do anything to stop me.
at least for now, that's not the world we live in. Again, Simu Liu has a right to his opinion.
They're not making any money off of me with my army of action figures based on their properties.
He can take his victory laps and he can mock me all he wants. I don't care. I think it's kind of funny, and I couldn't believe it when I saw it.
Clearly.
And it's part of the gig. I throw out a lot of criticism. I need to be able to take it, and I do every day. And
Clearly. Yep. Yeah, you're obviously. It's the thing is, it's when you're a public figure, the times that you respond badly to criticism, as we all do, are the judge of how good you are at dealing with criticism. You have to be able to do it all of the time. Now, I can't either. I'm bad at dealing with criticism too, but I don't get here and go like, when I'm melting down, go like, listen, I'm cool. I'm not upset.
I'm still grateful for it. And I think that's the one thing that bothers the most fans is the ingratitude. Dude, you get to pretend for a living and get...
What, this guy's not even grateful that I said his movie was woke garbage and it would fail. I did that for you, man. Fucking ingrate.
Paid well for it, and you get your cheddar. Just act like you've been there before. But I do have a problem with adult pretenders going after the paying customer, and that has to stop.
These adult pretenders. It's actors are just pretending to... He's not even really Shang-Chi, by the way. He can't even control magic rings, I'll have you know. In real life, he can't do that.
I do have a problem with Disney playing into all the divisiveness in this country and supporting camps that you concentrate in while pretending to virtue signal and, again, use communities for profit. And
see, like, if I truly believed this talking point, I might put that towards the beginning of my criticism. Kind of seems like he's using it to score points.
I will continue to call that out, and I hope you do too, because that's who they want to silence. It's not just me or Jeremy or the other Jeremy or Az or Ryan or Clownfish TV. It's you. If you like what you heard, please like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like what you heard, I thank you for listening this long. I will be talking about this on The Real BBC in just a couple of hours. If you're watching this in the future, that live stream will be linked.
So this isn't even the end of it. He did a 10-minute video about how much he doesn't care about this, and also he's going to make a podcast up. Later, don't worry, later I'm going to do a podcast live stream about this. So if you still want to learn more about how I feel about this one Instagram post a guy made where I'm like kind of in the background and how much of an attack that is on you, not me, but you personally, then you can learn about it there.
in the description. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next video.
Shang-Chi already has great publicity. People were excited for this film.
Yeah.
Why did you have to do that?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
Nerdrotic.com. Please subscribe.
Was that a Holocaust dog whistle? No, this is the common criticism that these people make against Disney. And I think it would be a valid one if it weren't entirely hypocritical. But it's about like Disney filmed something for Mulan in a part of China where there was also a concentration camp. And they go, oh, well, if Disney were this truly woke company, then they wouldn't do business with China. Because of China's human rights abuses, except that like the United States also has concentration camps. So kind of feels like also you're like not supporting any method of dealing with these types of things. It's just like, that's why I didn't like this. That's why I didn't like Captain Marvel. It's like, that's the only time, like that's not meaningful advocacy. Whew. Guys, you're not gonna believe this, but they did woke on James Bond. They made a James Bond woke. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Can you believe it? They played the bad music that someone else made.
Nerdrotic.com.
James Bond No Time to Die wrapped filming on October 26th, 2019, which was very close to its original release date of November 2019. Eventually, it was supposed to be released in April of 2020.
God, they keep delaying this movie because of how woke they are. God's always not woke to put out movies in 2020 anymore. Sorry, that's not intersectional enough.
Then November of 2020, then April of 2021, then November of 2021, before finally settling on a release date here in the States of October 8th, 2021, and that date does seem to be approaching. Many have speculated, including yours truly, that James Bond's No Time to Die, which I lovingly call No Time to Me Too, is just going
No Time to Cry. It's right there.
to be a deconstruction of yet another traditional male character. And what leads me to believe this? Well, everything. The director, the producer.
I'm so sick of being made to think when I watch movies. Stop deconstructing these characters. Just start putting them like into movie like normal so I don't have to think about it. I'm so sick. They keep trying to take like new approaches to these movies. Just show me the same movie I've already seen. But make it again. Make a new version of the same movie I've already seen. But don't put new stuff in it.
The star, and the co-stars have said they have made it clear this is going to be a James Bond for the Me Too Time's Up era. A James Bond that absolutely no one asked for. Now there's two...
Except like... everybody, it's been like a talking point for a long time that James Bond is like super rapey. That's like nobody asked for that. Like, just Google it, dude. That's been a topic for a long time. And also, James Bond, Daniel Craig's whole James Bond career has been a deconstruction of James Bond. It's all about how James Bond is kind of a broken, awful monster. It's been like the point of it the whole time.
Two interviews we're going to be going over here. One is originally from The Hollywood Reporter. No Time to Lose. Hollywood pins its hopes on Bond director Cary Fukunaga.
Can I just say also, I'm so mad that he's not wearing a James Bond shirt. He's wearing a Captain America bowling shirt. It looks like his little Captain America button up.
And the hopes are not looking too good right now. And then, of course, we have Lashana Lynch. Lashana Lynch, the first female 007. I never had a plan B. Well, you might want to get one now. No Time to Die director Cary Fukunaga admits film is woke while attempting to deny it. And I'm going to give you a fourth headline.
Yeah, he admits it. Well, but what he actually said, he said it wasn't, which basically is admitting it.
Just because it gets straight to the point. From Bleeding Fool, No Time to Die director says James Bond was a drapist. Brilliant way to sell your film that needs to make $900 million.
It's true, though. I can't remember what he says drapist because he's afraid of getting demonetized. Because all the effort he put into this one, he doesn't want to lose that time, you know? I can't remember what James Bond movie it was, but the woman clearly says no and he keeps going, which is just it's drape. So like it's about as cut and dry as it can get.
The director of the upcoming James Bond film No Time to Die, Cary Fukunaga, recently admitted the movie is woke while trying to deny rumors that writer Phoebe Waller-Bridge was brought in to wokeify the film. Now, when
okay. So just he admitted that the movie is woke. We got an inspector in, and they got out the wokeometer, and it scored a 7 SJWs on the woke scale, and he tries to claim that it isn't. All the while denying this extremely silly rumor that the writer of Fleabag was brought in to consult and wokeify the movie.
When John F. Trent here, the man who wrote the article, says things like wokeify or woke, it's meant in a general term. What he's really trying to say is we will be getting an intersectional feminist James Bond film. Fukunaga discusses how he is modernizing James Bond for a post.
No. Don't make this modern. Simply make James Bond the same guy he's always been and keep showing me that over and over. I don't want to see a new take. I want to see the same take I've already seen fucking 20 times now.
Hashtag Me Too reality, according to the
Look. He adds, she's like, no. And he's like, yes. That wouldn't fly today. Didn't fly back then.
Hollywood Reporter's Tatiana Siegel. First, the director accuses James Bond of drape, and yes, I have to use YouTube language here, in past films. He states, is it Thunderball or is it Goldfinger, where like basically Sean Connery's character drapes a woman? And he adds,
fuck, man. This is just holy shit. What a fucking child. Like, just I'm trying to be funny about this, but I have to step outside the bit for a second here. What a fucking child that he's like, oh, all these whiners complaining that Sean Connery rapes a woman in this movie. I didn't want to think about that. So they're probably just big whiners and probably gay. I'm going to do a lispy voice. It's just like, you're a grown man. Like, just for a fucking second, consider that there's something in the world more important than whether you enjoy this disposable pop movie. Just think about it for like a fucking second.
She's like, no. And he's like, yes. That wouldn't fly today. Well, that's a disingenuous example because they have modernized James Bond since then. That film was made in the 60s and it was of its time and no one is asking for that.
I don't think it was of its time. There are other movies from the 60s where women don't get raped, dude.
But Hollywood has gone to the other extreme by...
Oh, yeah. The other extreme. The other extreme. It used to be movies where a few women got raped. Now in the movies, nobody gets raped. It's extreme. They've gone to such ridiculous lengths.
Completely desexualizing everything, including anything.
James Bond has been desexualized.
That is what they call heteronormative. By the way, the scene he was talking about, I do believe, was from Goldfinger, and it featured a character named Pussy Galore in a franchise with a film titled Octopussy. If you think for 1 second that the casting couch has gone away in the post-Me Too Time's Up era, well, I've got a woke James Bond film to sell you. After calling...
Wow, you really fucking switched gears in the middle of that sentence. So, like, nobody's arguing that James Bond movies are super serious. They're arguing that this character, who is held up in the movies as an unambiguous good guy, or at least he was until the Daniel Craig movies pointed out that he's kind of a broken monster, did something horrible, and the film doesn't comment on it. The film just treats it like that's normal, and that's super fucked up. It is, in fact, normalizing rape. You, realizing perhaps that your line of criticism just made no sense, pivoted to this like, oh, but so you think that the casting couch has gone away in the Me Too era? No, no one thinks that. That's why we have to remain vigilant. That's why we have to build in accountability. The very thing you are complaining about.
Bond a drapist, Fukunaga then attempted to refute the idea that Phoebe Waller-Bridge was brought onto the film to make Bond more woke. He said, I think that's the expectation, a female writing very strong female roles, but that's something Barbara wanted already. From my very first conversations with Broccoli, that was a very strong drive. So they brought Phoebe Waller-Bridge in to write stuff like this.
So stay in your lane.
You can't change Bond overnight into a different person.
You don't know that. And also, why is that bad?
You can definitely change the world around him and the way he has to function in that world, he continued. The director then concluded, it's a story about a white man as a spy in this world.
Oh, come on!
Listen to how they talk. They talk.
It's exactly how you talk. Because if James Bond ever became anything other than a white man, you would be the first to complain about it. So, but when they point out that he is, oh, that's unacceptable. James Bond isn't a white man. He's just a normal. He's just the default type of person. And anything other than that is what is an aberration from the norm.
About wanting to be grounded and being able to connect with the audience when nobody on planet Earth outside of Hollywood talks like this. Okay, maybe Twitter too. But you have to be willing to lean in and do the work to make the female characters more than just contrivances. Way to disrespect all previous female Bond characters.
Hey, bud, you just talked about how the franchise had a woman named Pussy Galore in the movie called Octopussy. You used that as an example of how bad the female characters were in this franchise until now. You don't then get to turn around and go, oh, you're not respecting Pussy Galore. You're not respecting the women in this movie, the famously dynamic female characters in James Bond movies who have a rich inner life.
This is what Lashana Lynch has to say about bringing on Phoebe Waller-Bridge. Lynch worked closely on the character with Phoebe Waller-Bridge, the creator of Fleabag, who was brought on by Craig to punch up the script. When I told Phoebe who I wanted Nomi to be, it wasn't a conversation, says Lynch. She just said, that's exactly what I thought. Fab. Okay, let's do it.
Fuck. I hate it when someone comes in into the middle of a movie that's already being made and doesn't make big changes. I hate it. I hate it when two people get on board with the same vision. That is such a fucking SJW move.
That's about how much work they put into these things mostly. Lynch and Waller-Bridge both...
yeah. Fuck, man. He sets up a webcam in his room full of toys, and he's like, yeah, these people aren't working very hard.
Pushed for extra depth in the Nomi character in the James Bond movie, that she might have struggled with her weight in the past, or be having problems with a boyfriend. That's how they wrote it. Or be on her period.
What? What the fuck?
Or
it's a bit silly. It's a bit silly to be like, oh, what examples of a problem that a woman might have? Well, she could be on her period. It's a bit silly. But also, like, yeah, women menstruate. Also, it's not just women that menstruate, but like, it's not that unusual. Like, it's like if someone said, what if James Bond was in the middle of a mission and he had to take a piss? You know, it's kind of a silly thing to complain about, because normally in movies you just kind of gloss over it, but it's true. People piss.
or be on her period.
What did you say?
I understand people want to play characters with more depth, but I tell you exactly what no one wants to see in a James Bond movie: a character talking about her period. I don't think a woman wants to see that. I don't think a dude wants to see that. And I know I'm going to get in the comment section. I want to hear it. Well, yeah, you're one of the 10 people. As Jay Longbone eloquently puts it
I hate to do this in the middle of the video, but I have to pee. I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. I've found that sometimes you have like a piss that sneaks up on you. It's like you don't have to pee, you don't have to pee, you don't have to pee, and suddenly you're like, oh, time to go. That was one of those. It's because I'm on my period.
Twitter, nothing says female depth like menstruation. How much of it makes it in the film? Lynch isn't saying, I thought there might be a scene where she's coming out of the toilet and you see her throw her tampon in the bin.
You gotta be fucking kidding.
This is why normally they hire professional writers. And
Yeah, unlike Phoebe Waller-Bridge. It's like an award-winning writer who's done like 3 or 4 very successful shows, but is girl, so can't write. Because she wanted to have a scene where James Bond goes to the bathroom.
they don't let the adult pretenders make the words for themselves because they come up with ideas like this.
The adult pretenders, it's not a real job. You're just pretending. It's nothing. Not a real job like being a YouTuber who makes podcasts about the products that you make. No, you fucking lying adult pretenders.
Fortunately, I'm sure Phoebe Waller-Bridge completely agrees with her. But I'll ask you ladies out there in the audience, would you rather see Lashana Lynch toss a tampon into the bin in the James Bond film, or would you rather see Daniel Craig without his shirt on? We don't need...
Okay, but I don't know if that's a fair comparison. I think here's a more apt comparison that I think actually relates to the subject of the video. Would you rather see a woman in a movie throw a tampon in the trash, something that women do usually like once a month, like for a week or so? Well, like 4 days or so. But or would you rather see Daniel Craig force a woman to have sex with him while she says no, no, no? Which of those would you rather see? I know my answer. And my mistake, I keep saying women when I talk about menstruators. Not all women menstruate and not all people who menstruate are women. It's just very baked into me. I'm working on it.
to make a meal out of it, but we're in the ladies' room. You're going to see somebody pick their nose or pull out a wedgie. Bottom line, the woman is going to be relatable. I can just see the Watch Mojo video on that. The top 10 James Bond moments. Number 10, the submarine car from Spy Who Loved Me. Number 9, impromptu skydiving from Moonraker. Number 8, the tampon scene from No Time to Die. Maybe in the next film, we'll get to see James Bond get a cold...
Yeah, you can tell it wouldn't be a good scene in a movie. It wouldn't be a good scene in a movie because it wouldn't be on the What Culture video about it. Because that's how I know when a movie's good, is the more scenes that make it onto the What Culture top 10s.
Colonoscopy. It has been reported that the budget for No Time to Die is either $250 million or $300 million, not counting all the interest that's been racked up because it's been on the shelf for 2 years.
Or maybe they could make some of that money back if they had a product placement for Tampax. Ever think of that, smart guy?
And according to MovieWeb, No Time to Die needs to earn $900 million to break even as the most expensive James Bond movie ever. A new report claims that due to the growing costs of No Time to Die, the movie now requires a box office return of almost $1 billion. Yeah.
Which, by the way, it's because Phoebe Waller-Bridge asked them for $100 million woke dollars.
Yes. Skyfall made $1 billion and Spectre made $888 million, but this is $900 million to break even. This might explain why they tried to sell Bond. It makes you wonder why they're going ahead with the fake woke marketing, which worked out so well for X-Men Dark Phoenix, Terminator Dark Fate, Charlie's...
I don't recall Terminator Dark Fate having woke marketing.
To Angels and Birds of Prey. Well, you want to know why? At least Cary Fukunaga...
I think Birds of Prey's failure might have more to do with the fact that it came out right before all of the movie theaters shut down.
Really believes that this empowers women. It was really important to empower the female characters as standalone.
For fuck's sake, women should be weak. Everyone knows that. That's filmmaking 101.
By having them pick their nose and pull out their wedgies and throw away their tampons.
Down with the patriarchy.
Feels like I've been talking about this movie forever because I
It certainly does.
The first video I made was back in 2019 during Comic-Con, when we had Comic-Cons, and I was talking about the fake woke marketing then. There was a big push to have a female James Bond, and of course, Lashana Lynch is going to be the first black female 007, but definitely not the first black female in this franchise. And of course,
they keep putting black women in all of my movies. Oh, I'm so mad. When they put Rihanna in that one, I was like, why are you here? Certainly not the first black woman.
Be historic, but it seems like they might be dialing that back just a little bit. While Daniel Craig did come out and say that Bond should be played by a man because he's a man. Speaking with Radio Times, as reported by The Independent, Craig stated there should simply be better parts for women and actors of color. He even questioned why should a woman play James Bond when there should be a part just as good as James Bond, but for women. Now that completely contradicts what Daniel Craig just said a couple of short years ago, and Lashana Lynch repeated recently that a female could play James Bond. No, James Bond is a male, and
James Bond is not real. James Bond can be whatever. James Bond was Sean Connery, and then he was Roger Moore, and then he was Timothy Dalton. I don't know if it's in that order, but if he can be different people, then why not? Who cares? Who cares? Who cares?
Agree with Daniel Craig in his last statement. Create more characters. They can be just as good or better than James Bond, and all that would give you is more story.
Yeah, but didn't you just say that they cast Mrs. I don't know, some Lynch as the first female 007, and you're all mad about it? She's not James Bond. James Bond is in the movie. Is played by Daniel Craig, and you're mad about that too, even though that's a new character. So it kind of feels like you get mad no matter what. So they might as well just do whatever they want and let you be mad and wallow in your irrelevance.
More toys to play with, and you can do that with other franchises like Doctor Who. Instead of retconning the Doctor and saying you're doing it to create more stories, I would say creating more original characters would create more stories. But the reason they don't do that is
you could watch different shows with other new characters. Doctor Who has been running for 60 years. If you want to watch a show with a bunch of new characters, there's plenty. Sex Education's a good show. You could watch that. You'd probably learn something.
Very simple.
Down with the patriarchy.
Sure, they could have created brand new characters within a universe, but that would have taken time.
Why can't we simply have more films in the James Bond universe? It's like everything is so fucking disposable to these people. Everything is just like this open playground. Like nothing is just a movie. Nothing could just be a movie that is made to entertain you. It has to be part of like an ongoing thing, an ongoing soap opera.
Money and commitment, something that the entertainment industry really wasn't willing to put in because they really don't believe in your cause. It was much easier to take something away and be controversial to get those easy headlines. Then blame the audience,
which I diligently provided with my endless coverage of them.
Audience that they take for granted and expect to show up anyway. Says Bond producer Barbara Broccoli, I think people are coming around.
Look, I always get in trouble whenever I make fun of someone's name. But I just want to point out that I think the name Barbara Broccoli is delightful. That is a delightful name for a human being to have. I can't not point that out. It's not simply that her last name is Broccoli. I don't know if that's a traditional last name somewhere. That alone is quite charming. It's the alliteration, Barbara Broccoli. That's fantastic. I love it. 10 out of 10 name.
Some kicking and screaming to accepting that stuff is no longer acceptable.
Sheer fucking hubris.
Now, in this article, she's conflating all of that with Bond from the 50s and 60s, but we know what she's really talking about because Bond has been modernized and some would argue has already been deconstructed. The one thing that is not acceptable right now in Hollywood is being male and being on the other side of the aisle. The political...
Yeah, man. That's why there's no men in movies anymore. It's just not acceptable in Hollywood to be a man these days. When was the last time you saw a movie with a man in it? There's not going to be a man in James Bond 007, No Time to Die. Wasn't any men in Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. The main character and the main villain weren't both men. Can you imagine if it went the other way and there were male characters in a girl movie? Like if they put male characters in Black Widow? They just inserted, there was a second male Captain America from Russia. What if they did that? They just isn't acceptable these days.
Political bigotry has never been worse than it is right now.
If you think about it, the left is bigoted against me because I don't want black people in movies. If you think about it, that's what's happening here.
Absolutely agree with Lashana Lynch on this. Who should it be? We are in a place and time where the industry is not just giving the audiences what it thinks the audience wants. Lynch continues. They're actually giving the audience what they want to give the audience. And after seeing...
I gotta say, that is the approach that everyone should take. And this is there's a quote by Alan Moore that I think is quite wise. I don't agree with Alan Moore on everything, but I agree with him on this. You don't listen to the fans. You don't listen to the people that are telling you how to write your story. Because if the fans knew what they wanted, they would be the writers instead of the fans. So filmmakers should absolutely not listen to the fans 100%. Even when that backfires, even when they make a bad movie, it's an interesting bad movie. Instead of just the boring cookie cutter. Like the reason everybody's so sick of Marvel movies right now is because they listen to the fans and they just turn out the same shit over and over that the fans want. They don't shake things up because they're afraid of upsetting the fans. So nothing interesting can disrupt the status quo.
Character after character deconstructed and franchise after franchise destroyed. We got
the message.
Oh, hold on. I want to admire this.
The audience. And after seeing
diagram.
Character after character deconstructed and franchise after franchise destroyed, we got
the...
Boy. Just like, what is this one? This was just people saying hello in different languages? The audacity of these social justice warriors. An old lady? They've gone too far this time. Look at this one. Look at this one. They're going to work. They got a kid. Look at this one. They're running around. They're running. Sorry, you can't see my cursor.
Message.
When you see Hollywood throwing around words like relevant, relatable, accessible, modernize, or making things for a giant global audience, those are giant red flags when they should be using words like quality, timeless, legacy, fun, especially when it comes to
God. Just the intentional closing off of your world. They should just be doing things like they did in the past. Why would they make a new thing? It doesn't make any sense. What a wiener. What an absolute wiener. Sorry, I'm just looking at something.
iconic characters that they have systematically gone through one by one and deconstructed. I don't
think this man knows what deconstructing is. It doesn't mean what I think what he seems to think it means.
This movie is good, and while I completely disagree with Cary Fukunaga, I do not believe James Bond is a rapist, and I think he's being idiotic and disingenuous. I think
it happened in the movie. It's on screen. You can look at the scene. There's no room for argument. Either you watch it and acknowledge what happened in the scene, or you're wrong.
The guy is a talented director. True Detective is a work of genius, and I did like the last trailer. And maybe, just maybe, they're just blowing smoke up the Access Media's ass, and this is all fake woke marketing, which is...
It's also like, imagine having to have a preemptive opinion on every piece of media. Like, before you can even just watch the movie, you have to spend like a year in advance speculating on whether or not you will enjoy the movie. It's so tiresome. Like, just go watch the movie and like it or don't.
Is going to do nothing but damage, seeing that they need to make $900 million to break even. And during the coup, I don't think that's going to happen because...
Also, I really liked Casino Royale. I thought that was probably my favorite James Bond movie. I really enjoyed it. Don't know how well it's aged, but at the time I was like, yo, this is like a new and fresh and interesting. I didn't like Skyfall. I thought Skyfall kind of ruined it for me. And then I was just like, oh, I guess I just don't like these movies anymore, and I stopped watching them. It's fine. The absolute worst thing that can happen to you as a result of this is that they will put out a movie that you don't enjoy seeing. That's it. That's all. It's the worst thing that could possibly happen about it. That's it. And for that, like a year in advance, you're like, well, let me break down why this is going to be bad. I read this article about it that points to this direction, and they just might make this woke.
Because it's going to be up against something Shang-Chi wasn't. Competition. Unsolicited advice, Hollywood. If you hire someone to write for one of your iconic franchises like James Bond, and the first words out of their mouth are, it needs to be radically modernized for a larger global audience.
But again, that is how studios think. That is what studios want. They want characters with mass appeal.
They're the wrong person for the job. If they say things like, James Bond has gotten a little tired and all the stories have been told, they're the wrong person for the job.
Oh, honey. Oh, honey. just like, if they say that they don't want to make the same movies that we've already been making, do not hire them. If they say this, we should have some new ideas in this franchise, don't do it. Don't do it. Just put out the same movies you've already been putting out. It's just like, what do you watch movies for? Why do you go to the movies? Why not just watch the same movie? Like if that's what you want, just go watch Goldfinger again. Go watch Goldeneye or any of the other Golden films.
I'll leave you with the words of one Madeline Grant from an article I read 2 years ago that remains relevant today. We Bond fans crave seductive escapism, not a Me Too morality tale.
Yeah? I don't know what's going on in your life, man, but like it's a like what do you need to escape from? What's going on? Are you okay? Maybe deal with your problems instead of depending on movies to temporarily make you forget them. How dare this movie aspire to be more than simply entertaining and disposable? I should sit down in my seat, hoot and holler at the screen for approximately an hour and a half, shove popcorn in my gormless mouth, and then immediately forget what happened as I drink myself to sleep. This is how this guy wants movies to be.
If you like what you heard, please like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like what you
Oh, that was just something else, wasn't it? That one was a doozy. I was not expecting to be interested in that one because James Bond is kind of a boring franchise for boomers. But I gotta say, he found a way to make it interesting. Just gonna, and by interesting I mean infuriating. One of the most head-ass things I've ever read. I'm just going to take a moment, read some messages that I've missed so far. I don't like people paying to give me messages and then I don't read them. It makes me feel bad. Let's see. Refresh. How are those live shows 5 hours? Well, you think that they should be out enjoying their rich social lives? Okay. Time to get Nerdrotic. I read that one. Sorry, there was a preview going on in the corner of my eye. It was very distracting. Thoughts on Cinemassacre, the angry video game nerd? Thanks, Mildew, and clean your room. What? Clean my... Because my wife's hair tie is in the background? Is that why? And you can kind of see her chair? There you go. I'm moving soon. I see no reason to thoroughly clean. I'll tell you what I love about Cinemassacre is I love building with brown bricks in Minecraft. I love building with brown bricks in Minecraft. I love to play Minecraft. I do watch the Angry Video Game Nerd. It's perhaps hypocritically, there's something very comforting about the fact that he's still making the exact same videos that he made in like 2005, but he consistently ups his production values and seems to put a lot of work into what he does. And although I don't find his critique all that interesting, there's just something charming about it. I like it. I like the Angry Video Game Nerd. What can I say? So this isn't productive for me. I'm still technically at work, but a customer is clearly listening to Alex Jones in the background of this call, so it's goddamn cathartic. I highly encourage people to watch streams at work. It's time theft, and I'm here for it. It's based. My partner, Ben, had a bad day. Can you please say hello? Boy, Ben, I hope you're still around. Ben. Have a better day, buddy. Have a better day than you were having. I command you. And if your day doesn't get better, I'll find out. I have my little birds everywhere. Just reposting the post of Mary Kesey to get it seen. My partner, Ben, has had a bad day. Can you please say hello? Ben, if your day doesn't get better, I will find you. If your day gets better, that'll be it. But if your day doesn't get better, I have a particular set of skills. And I will find you. Why is my gender so angering to dudes like this? Everything is angering to dudes like this because their livelihood depends on getting constantly outraged. Half a Grape says, make a wish. My wish is that Ben has a better day, because otherwise, I don't know what's going to happen. You high? You sound high. Me too. Saucing you some dope money. I am not high at the moment. I have not. I've had some tea. I have not consumed any drugs other than caffeine today, and arguably sugar. Just a fan. Here's some support after all the entertainment you've given me. You're not just a fan. There's nothing small about being a fan of mine. That shows that you have good taste and a smart brain. Take 5 says, I'm so glad that somebody else agrees that Russell T Davies is really not that good. I thought that was the consensus opinion. I thought that everybody was excited for Stephen Moffat when he took over because Russell T Davies was bad. And then it turns out that Moffat was worse, but he was better for one season. I like the Timeless Child storyline, and for some reason I need everyone to know it. Now they all know. Sorry, doctor is girl sometimes? Yeah, there are girl doctors. It's famously, there's the riddle. The doctor looks at her son and she says, I can't operate on my son. And they're like, how come? And it's because doctor is girl. Girl is doctor. But they were referring to Doctor who before recently had never been girl, but now is girl, and everyone mad. According to my psychiatrist, you personally gave me ADHD. This is the power that I have. I can zap it into people's brains. This is the thing I worried about when I put out that video, is how many people are going to go to their psychiatrists. There's going to be a rash of people saying that they have ADHD, or perhaps more accurately, realizing that they've had ADHD and getting proper treatment for it. Sending $5 to say, I'd rather listen to your voice than NT all day. Thought Slime. Yeah, it's because I say cool stuff, not because I have a cool voice. It's because there's the cool shit I say. Because of all my goofs and gaffes and all of my clever witticisms. Not because of my voice. The timbre of my voice is actually quite high. I like watching Thought Slime. Have a good time. I like Thought Slime. I heard of this guy. Nerdrotic wouldn't know effort if it put a black man in his favorite cartoon. Necro Potato, I hereby award you the Joke of the Stream award. That's the Joke of the Stream. What's funny is he is close to a point here. They ask, what are the things we can give this woman to give depth? And your answers are wait, periods, and relationship issues. Shallow as hell. Yeah. That would be one thing if he'd been like, it sounds like a man writing a woman, but instead he's like, ew, periods, gross. I don't want to see that in a movie, gross. He should just go around shooting people. That's what I want to see in a movie. I honestly do not get how these right-wing nerd communities exist. All my experience in nerd/geek culture has been extremely left-wing, a good thing. I think it depends a lot on like whether you hang out with nerds that understand the things that they consume, because most people, most like nerd media is made by people who are at least left of center, because that requires a level of imagination that is required to make those types of things. And if you're a right winger and all you want to do is the same shit over and over, you want to protect the world from the ever encroaching enemy that seeks to degrade your culture, you end up reproducing the same shit that's been around over and over and over. You don't make anything new. So that tends to bias pop culture towards a left-wing perspective. And so if you are a person who at all pays attention to what the thing you're consuming tries to say, then you tend to realize that they're simpatico with leftist ideals, so that's why all of the people that complain about how woke they made the X-Men woke, it's tend to be fools and babies, because obviously the X-Men were always woke, to use their parlance. The X-Men were about the civil rights era. I don't think and now we're getting into one of my personal bugaboos, and we're way off topic, but I don't like it when people say that Charles Xavier represents Martin Luther King and Magneto represents Malcolm X, because that kind of implies Malcolm X is a bad guy. Not a big fan of that. The ADHD was inside you all along. That's true. I drank that Michael Secret stuff. It gave me ADHD. Russell T. Davies good? In your opinion, perhaps. I refer you to the Absorbalov, and when the woman who played Moaning Myrtle became a slab of concrete that could still do blowjobs. I refer you to that episode, and I close my case. I agree with chat user Demonic Boobs. You have a friendly voice and it's nice to listen to. Yeah, again, but if I was, again, even by the way you say it, is I have a friendly voice. I'm saying friendly things. If I were saying mean things, if I got up here and I was like, Shang-Chi's woke trash, you would say, your voice, sir, it's an affront to me. Be gone, you would say. All right. We're up to date. Malcolm X's magnetism power was well documented. That's true. I will say, in that sense, they were very alike, because Malcolm X was the master of magnet. But other than that, I don't see what they have in common. I am curious to see. I'm not going to commit to watching the whole video because if he doesn't get mad at it, what's the point? I would like to know his opinion on the film Suicide Squad because I thought it was quite good. The Suicide Squad, not Suicide Squad. Let's see if he thought if by chance he thought it was woke trash. What do you think? Yes, I know that the Absorbaloff was because of a fan designed it and put it in the episode. They didn't have to make the episode bad. And let's just fix up my frames.
When I first heard James Gunn was going to be directing the Suicide Squad, I thought it would probably be a pretty good film, and my expectations were not subverted. In a sea of Hollywood garbage, it is nice to get a film that is just entertaining, and that's what this is. This is the Suicide Squad review. There will be no spoilers, so let's do this.
Nerdrotic.com.
I'm losing hope.
Suicide Squad is a sequel of sorts to Suicide Squad, although I think you have to see the first movie to at least know what's going on in the beginning of the second, because they rushed through that a bit, which I didn't have a problem with because I knew what was going on.
And he put on the shirt. He did put on the shirt, so
sure how that would play to somebody who hasn't seen the first film. Now, as far as the first film is concerned, it's not very good. I liked the first 15 minutes. I liked the trailers. I liked elements of it, but it fell apart in the last, I don't know, 2/3 or maybe 3/4 of the film. And Ayer Cut fans, I hear you. It wasn't David Ayer's fault. I actually think he's a pretty damn good director. Hashtag release the Ayer Cut. That being said, Ayer's Cut did most of the heavy lifting for this film as far as setting up the Suicide Squad. Particularly, Amanda Waller played perfectly again by Viola Davis. The gist of the film is some supervillains get some...
Okay, he's not going to say the stuff we like to make fun of him for, so I don't see why we should watch this video. It goes to show at least there are some things in this world that he still enjoys. Good for him. Oh, Marvel's doomed, huh? That's news to me. I thought they've made a lot of money with all of their movies. Look how many videos this man has about Batwoman. I ask you, what was the last time you even heard someone talk about Batwoman? Do the salon? I am curious. Where is this Nancy Pelosi salon video? You know what? Why am I doing this the sucker way, looking with my eyes, when I could simply... Why can I not Control F? There we go. Hey.
Well,
it's time for this pop culture review channel to get into politics for a change. Normally, you know, he doesn't like to get political, but this time he's going to do it. Why can I not select the thing I want? There we go. No. 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 There we go. Let's shrink that down. There we go. Okay.
Well, caught on camera, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi getting a lot of blowback for the blowout she received inside a San Francisco salon. Despite a county health order to wear a mask, Pelosi can be seen with her face uncovered. And remember, she was inside the salon.
Nerdrotic.com.
That's it. I don't see how her career could recover from this.
Rules for thee, but not for Nancy Pelosi. Our speaker from the House of Representatives decided to get busted on surveillance footage, getting a wash and blowout in a salon in San Francisco. No, you can't make this up. San Francisco, the same town that shut down my wife's salon permanently, the same town that's lost 54% of its storefronts forever, the same town Nancy Pelosi overlords over within the 12th Congressional District of California, a fact that will come up later. Nancy Pelosi has made a statement. Spoilers, it made things worse. Pelosi used shuttered San Francisco hair salon for blowout. Owner calls it slap in the face. We have been shut down for so long, owner says.
You know, the thing I always find interesting about accusations of hypocrisy is that you end up kind of arguing for both sides in a sense, because you have to be mad that she did this, but also mad that she set the rule that people couldn't do it. So, like, which is the thing that's bad? And I know that in theory it should be that she is a hypocrite. She's telling people to do something and then not doing it herself. But it seems like he's mad about both things simultaneously, even though they're mutually contradictory.
Since March 16th, all the salons, nail salons, gyms, movie theaters, and other businesses have been shut down since that date. Now, salons were allowed to reopen today, September 1st, 2020, only to cut hair outside. Nancy Pelosi was busted on the very same day my wife was up in San Francisco cleaning out the last of her salon. Again, you can't make this stuff up. Exclusive. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi visited a San Francisco hair salon on Monday afternoon for a wash and blowout. Despite local business ordinances keeping salons closed amid the coup, Fox News had learned insecurity footage.
He can't say COVID because YouTube would demonetize him. I will say it's pretty gross on Nancy Pelosi's part, and fuck Nancy Pelosi, she's terrible. That's not a good look.
Obtained by Fox News and timestamped Monday at 3:08 p.m. Pacific time, the California powerhouse is seen walking through E-Salon in San Francisco with wet hair and without a mask over her mouth or nose. Well, the pop culture commentary will return. I have some Star Trek to talk about and a date for my Picard review, but I could not pass this up. Of course, my wife and I are seething over this. Of course, this affects us personally because my wife was shutting down and clearing out her salon the day this happened. But Nancy Pelosi doesn't care. Governor Cuomo doesn't care. He just got busted walking his dog without his mask on. She, of course, just got...
Yep, that's... Well, good luck finding a worse thing to pin on Andrew Cuomo than that.
Busted getting her hair done illegally in San Francisco without her mask on. There's all the rioting and looting that a lot of these politicians have allowed to happen. So I'm guessing it's going to be just fine for all of us to go vote in person this November. And we need to remember all of this. Elitism.
It was fine for everybody to vote in person. That happened.
It's real. Rules for thee and not for me. Now, the remaining salon owners are pissed in San Francisco, and they have a lot of problems to deal with. They still can't cut hair inside. They have lost, in some cases, over half of their clientele. They're losing employees. Why? I talked about this in my last video. The mass exodus from San Francisco. It's real. Why is this happening? Well, partially due to the rioting and looting in other cities and people recognizing that Democratic...
It's not even the looting and rioting in San Francisco. It's the looting and rioting in other cities that might come to San Francisco in the future. What other reason could people have for moving out of a famously expensive city while people are losing their jobs? It doesn't make any sense. It's got to be the looting and the rioting that Nancy Pelosi personally greenlit.
Politicians are doing nothing about it. They can't even call it out. And the draconian coof restrictions placed on them by Mayor London Breed and other local politicians who are drunk with power right now and are happy to sacrifice my wife's salon, your life's work, your life's dream for their greater good. Again,
yeah, I mean, because with the benefit of hindsight, we can look back and show that like COVID ended up being nothing. It ended up not hurting anybody. So why were people making such a big deal about it on September 2nd, 2020?
elitism is real. Now, we're briefly going to go back to this article and hear from the hero of the people, Erica Kios. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your last name. She did rat out Nancy Pelosi, and I have no problem with that whatsoever. Salon owner Erica Kios, in a phone interview with Fox News on Tuesday, shared details of Pelosi's visit. Kios explained she has independent stylists working for her who rent chairs in her salon. One of the stylists who rents a chair from me contacted me Sunday night. A screen grab of the text message she received from one of her stylists and obtained by Fox News said, "I'll be there at 2:45 tomorrow. Pelosi assistant just messaged me."
I honestly don't understand how people like this have spouses. That relationship must be miserable. What bothers me more is that his wife runs a salon and he lets his beard grow out this long. Your wife could trim that for you, bud. You could look so fresh. You literally have a wife with a salon.
To do her hair. Kios replied, "Pelosi?" And here's the message, and she really did rat her out. Wow. I was like, "Are you kidding me now? Do I let this happen? What do I do?" Kios told Fox News, while noting that she can't control what her stylists do if they rent chairs from her, as they're not paying at this time. Kios cast Pelosi's visit as a double standard. It was a slap in the face. Yes, it was a slap in the face, one that I hope starts waking people up. I remind you when Nancy Pelosi was busted getting her hair illegally done in San Francisco, it was 3:08 p.m. That was the timestamp on that video on Monday, August 31st. Well,
remember
I
that.
received a phone call from my wife at 6:06 p.m. that very same day, just 3 hours after, letting me know she had cleared out the last of her stuff from her now closed salon that was successful prior to March 16th and the draconian coof restrictions that Nancy Pelosi knows everything about. Here come some more slaps.
But like, the bad thing that Nancy Pelosi did was getting the haircut. The bad thing wasn't telling people not to get haircuts. That's good. They can't both be bad. This is what I was talking about.
In the face. We get two statements from Nancy Pelosi. Breaking. Nancy Pelosi's office has confirmed the speaker got her haircut indoors in a San Francisco salon, but released a statement claiming she didn't know she had done anything wrong. Well, Nancy Pelosi happens to be the congresswoman for the 12th congressional district in California, which just so happens to cover the entire city of San Francisco. So that is complete bullshit. Well, the bullshit doesn't stop there. We get another statement.
And we have reached out to Speaker Pelosi for comment and received a statement from her office reading, "The Speaker always wears a mask and complies with local COVID requirements. This business offered for the Speaker to come in on a Monday and told her they were allowed by the city to have one customer at a time in the business. The Speaker complied with the rules as presented to her by this establishment." So far, no word yet of this.
Now, I will say, that's probably bullshit. It's probably not true. She probably knew she was getting a haircut because she's rich and she can do whatever the fuck she wants. But it's not entirely unreasonable. It's not a out there lie.
Business or the specific stylist involved in this situation has been reprimanded.
Good thing Erica Kios is smart and a hero of the people, and she got out in front of this because, yes, Nancy Pelosi did act true to form for an elitist politician and threw her ass under the bus, which lost her more friends. This is how you make enemies out of allies. You rub their misfortune in their face. Misfortune they had nothing to do with. And then Nancy Pelosi claims ignorance on top of that. So, yeah, I guess this is good news. More people are waking up.
Wait, he's not going to dispute that the business was allowed to have one person? He's not even going to dispute her entire defense?
Oh, again, this is my last video on this subject, but I do want to thank everyone, and there were a hell of a lot of you who sent emails to Melissa and I. We appreciate all of your support.
So wait a minute. Wait a fucking minute. You have no information to contradict that according to the laws and the rules of the business, she was allowed to be in there? Like, dog, I agree with you. She's probably full of shit. But like,
you've helped us get through this. We've had to pick up our entire family, including a special needs son, and get him into a different school, get him set up online. And it's been insane, but we're going to be okay. I want you to think about the businesses that burned down. Think about the business owners who can't collect insurance money, whose dream died.
Every business that burns down can collect insurance money. You can't open a business without insurance.
Please keep them in mind as the mainstream media forgets them. As Governor Cuomo's brother said, the media is not your friend.
But like, what is the alternative here? What is the alternative? Because like, I'm really sorry that your wife lost her business. That sucks. The alternative here is that she has to go day in, day out into the middle of a fucking pandemic, potentially getting a disease that could kill her, that has already killed millions of people.
Be careful with the media always. Right. I've always told you, the media is not your friend.
No. Oh, common.
Media is definitely not his friend.
Interesting. Not your friend.
Right ground. Please like, share, and subscribe if you like what you heard. On to Star Trek or Doctor Who or something in the next.
Jesus. Do we got one more in us? Do we got one more? Joss Whedon's been canceled. I really hate thumbnail meta. These are even not great thumbnails, in my opinion. Like, there's some things he does right. I like that there's clearly the person he's talking about front and center. And there's just like, there's little text. So you know that you get the message really quick. But they're not like eye-catching. Like putting them all together like this, they all kind of blend together because it's all just face word, face word, face word, face word, face word, face word, you know, like it's like there's nothing breaking up. It's much like his big wall of toys. It's all just slapped on there and there's not a lot to like differentiate anything. There's no like other colors or it's just a picture and a word, a picture and a word. Or rather, a photo and a word, you know, just a person making a face and a word that corresponds to that face. Lots of cringe googly eyes. Like, see, again, that's something that I think is kind of a mistake on his part, because if I could get all YouTube asshole about this. Hold on. I'm having real trouble with this today. The googly eyes, in my opinion, take away from what is strong about these thumbnails, because say this one right here. You can't see my cursor, but you can see it's kind of, I'm activating the thing, the one that's this cancel Doctor Who thumbnail, right? So what's good about it is that like Jodie Whittaker's face is front and center. So you know it's a video about Jodie Whittaker. But then the googly eyes make her harder to recognize at a glance. So it kind of disincentivizes people from watching the video. What I would do instead, if I were in his position, and obviously he's more successful as a YouTuber than I am, so, but in my opinion, it would make more sense to take the liquefy tool and manipulate their face so that they're making whatever face it is you want, rather than pasting googly eyes over them. Like, I don't think it's so bad here with Batwoman, because like Batwoman's got a very noticeable silhouette, you know? It doesn't matter if you recognize her face because she's wearing a superhero costume, so you recognize it immediately. The superhero costumes are designed for that. They're designed to like stick out on the page. But you can see he's kind of like, he's I think learned that, because like if you look at his newer thumbnails, there's far fewer googly eyes. And when they are, it's like on somebody that would be recognizable. Like, you know, that's Thanos. Because it's a big purple man with a purple chin. Okay. The MCU. Kevin Feige on the MCU. They're good, ladies and gentlemen. They're gonna put girls in the movies. This is a fucking outrage.
I am Iron Man.
Used to be so good. Remember when he said he was Iron Man? Remember when that guy punched Captain America? It used to be so good.
You just don't know when to give up, do you?
I can do this all day.
Ah, it used to be so good. I'm gonna skip ahead because I don't want to get content ID'd. It's amazing. He won't say the word COVID, but he'll play the Avengers theme.
They'll never know what you sacrificed for them.
You've got to do better. Bruh.
So, like, what makes those scenes worse? I don't understand.
Nerdrotic.com.
I don't think there's
it that, like, the characters in the movie used to look cool, and now they don't, and thus the movies are worse? Because I don't think the point in any of those scenes was, look how cool this guy is.
Been more synergy between the Marvel Cinematic Universe and Marvel Comics, and that is incredibly bad news. And I think it's high time somebody called out Kevin Feige. So here we go. Now, it's been a while since I've mentioned this, but you might not know that I used to own a comic shop in San Francisco for over a decade, one best of the Bay, called the Comic Outpost. And I remember it like it was yesterday, the day Disney bought Marvel, the day Marvel died. I had my staff there. We did a podcast, and
again, simply stop consuming it. I will tell you, often I will stop consuming superhero media because I don't like the direction it's taking.
We all pretty much agreed that the movies would be great, but the comics would suffer. Now we're sitting here over a decade later, and we were right, but I didn't think the movies would suffer this quickly. Now, I don't know where this started. It could have been with the fandom, or it could have been with Kevin Feige's handlers. There's been this myth built up around him that he's one of us, that he was a big Marvel fanboy who read the comics when he was a kid.
You were already invested in it.
He doesn't like the cartoons like I do. He just makes these movies.
Marvel Comics.
I knew these types of characters. I didn't know as much as I know now. And the Marvel source material, which I knew some of when I was a kid. I had the pajamas, I had the toys, I watched the cartoons. But as I started to read more of the comics, so I went, look, let's just do this.
So the myth of Kevin Feige being a big Marvel fanboy is just that, a myth.
There you go. Kevin Feige is a fake nerd girl.
He had some pajamas. He owned some toys. He watched some cartoons, but he
didn't own as many toys as I own. Look at all of my toys. Why don't I get to run the movies?
Didn't really read the comic books, and that's kind of important considering that is the source material. Now, he read them later, and source material did matter in the beginning of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but it doesn't matter now. Kevin Feige says
hold on, though. If your complaint is that the movies are drawing too much from the comics, you can't then complain that the guy doesn't know enough about the source material and he isn't respecting it enough.
Comic book popularity, not a factor in movie and TV adaptations, and that is absolutely clear now. Marvel was once known as the House of Ideas, but now it's the House of Ideology, and it's a house run by Kevin Feige, who has gone full Kathleen Kennedy. And quite frankly, with all the criticism that I've thrown Kathleen Kennedy's way, much deserved, Kevin Feige has been much worse. The stuff...
Who is Kathleen Kennedy? Is that the Star Wars woman?
That has flown out of that guy's pie hole just in the last couple of months is worse than anything Kathleen Kennedy has said recently, which has been absolutely nothing. He recently said Doctor Strange was just another white guy, and he also said he wanted to subvert our expectations with Black Widow. Well,
I don't want my expectations subverted. I want my expectations fulfilled. I want to go into the movie already knowing what I'm going to see.
You mean subverting our expectations like you did with Ghost? Or subverting our expectations like you did with Female Loki? Or subverting our expectations like you...
Female Loki in the comics was a man, is the thing. They made Female Loki into a girl, but Female Loki was a boy in the comics. That's one thing because in the comic... Can you imagine if in the Marvel comic canon, they made a version of Loki that was a woman? Can you imagine the uproar about that? Luckily, they didn't. They only do that in the woke movies.
Did with Freckle Jesus, and this is a bonus round, and I know it's not Marvel, or Disney subverting our expectations with Infest Nest.
It's kind of irrelevant then. Do you ever stop and ask yourself why it is that you only expect these characters to be male? Like why you assume male is the default and anyone who you don't know the identity of and you can't immediately clock as female, you just assume is a dude? You ever stop to ask yourself that? Taskmaster is a dude in the comics, sure. So is Ghost. But fucking Female Loki was just an empty blank slate. That could have been anyone.
Want to subvert my expectations with Black Widow? Why don't you make the Taskmaster Anthony Masters like he is in the comic books and not the girl that I know and everyone knows we're going to get? You want to...
Wait. Why didn't you subvert my expectations by doing the thing that is normal, the thing that has been the case in the comics? Nobody would have expected that. In fact, it was too obvious that they made Taskmaster a woman.
Subvert my expectations. Have Loki actually be the star of his own show.
He was.
You want to subvert?
Yeah, like that scene though, where he's getting kicked in the nuts. It's like Loki is a villainous character. You're supposed to see him get his comeuppance a few times. He goes through an arc on the show about how his life is kind of pointless and pathetic, and he learns to respect others, and that's what makes him into a better man. That's like, I understand why you might not relate to that story, but he was certainly the star. I don't think it makes him less the star that something bad happened to him in a scene.
My expectations, cast a comic book accurate Fantastic Four and X-Men, and let's go one further, actually call them the X-Men.
It's funny that people call it the X-Men. There's a lot of female
of female superheroes in that X-Men group. So I think it's outdated.
And about that synergy.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Why should it just be called the X-Men if it's not all men? Even in the image you showed, Storm was there. There are women on the X-Men team. Why should it just be the X-Men? Why does that make it better? Aside from the fact that that's the way it is and you don't like the idea of things changing, why is it better if it's the X-Men? That seems like a direct flaw to me. If anything, that's like kind of a weird wrinkle that like you kind of have to look past. And you don't have to call it the X people or whatever. You can call it like X team or X Force is already a thing, but
between Marvel Comics and the MCU, well, like I said, it has never been closer. In the past, you would have a Captain America movie out and it would be Falcon Cap in the comics, or a Thor movie out and it would be female Thor in the comics. They never really matched and they wasted years doing that, and that probably could have helped the comic shops. But now they...
Yeah, it would help the comic shops if instead of wasting all this time with all of these characters, they had just done the thing they were already doing that was making them go out of business. Oh shit, I hit the button.
Couldn't be closer. I absolutely believe that She-Hulk will look like a dude in the She-Hulk series, and the Winter She-Hulk has something to do with the Red Room, which connects it to Black Widow.
It's just something about like some guy like you're destroying the sanctity of She-Hulk. Winter She-Hulk used to mean something. I probably won't even want to fuck She-Hulk when I see her in this show. That's how bad things are getting.
These are all things Kevin Feige has signed off on because he is the CEO of Marvel Comics. He also signed off on this. This story broke over the 4th of July weekend. Marvel reveals Steve Rogers no longer believes in the American dream in first issue of the United States of Captain America.
Boy, sounds like kind of a beginning of a story that's literally called The United States of Captain America. It begins with this sudden and dramatic change in his outlook. I wonder what happens after that. I wonder what then goes on to happen.
I'm loyal to nothing except the dream. I actually said that once. Here's the thing about a dream, though. A dream isn't real. When we wake up, it goes away, and we're left with this yearning inside, like something was taken from us. At least, that's one kind of dream. But lately, spending my days in this country as the years march on by, I'm starting to think America actually has two dreams and one lie. I know Captain America sounds like he just walked out of a cis-hetero antinormativity social injustice course. Germans have this...
What the fuck are you talking? Nothing about what he just said sounded like that. Nothing about what he...
This neat word, Fernweh. It means a longing for nostalgia, for a place you've never been, or for a place that might not even exist at all. We have a word for this in the States, Americana.
Yeah, see, this is you clearly don't even understand the status quo that you're rallying for these characters to return to, because Captain America has constantly he's constantly upheld that he is not a symbol of America. He's a symbol of what America could be. He says that all of the fucking time.
You gotta be fucking kidding.
That's funny. Captain America sounds exactly like a bitter, ingrate, current year Marvel comic books writer.
These comic book writers are ingrates because they wrote the character saying that Americana isn't real.
Now, I'm not saying Kevin Feige runs the day-to-day at Marvel Comics or even knows what goes on a weekly basis, but I'm sure he knows that they're writing something like this in Captain America. You know, the Steve Rogers Captain America that they had to bring back to the book because the Falcon cap wasn't selling? Or maybe they just brought him...
Yeah, but it's like, dog, they didn't bring him back because the Falcon Captain America wasn't selling. It's not selling anyway. It's that comic book fans like you can't get past that things change in comics. That like any change to the status quo has to be reverted eventually so that the characters can return to being exactly what they were when you were 12 years old and you didn't have real problems and you could just read comic books all day.
Back to deconstruct them more, so maybe someday Falcon Cap will work.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
And by the way, the reason that they have Falcon Cap in the movies is because Chris Evans didn't want to be in the movies anymore. It wasn't just some ideological decision. The old guy who was playing Captain America left. They had to cast someone else. So they went with the guy who was Captain America in the comics after Steve Rogers. Why wouldn't they?
You've got to do better.
So it seems like the ingratitude that is ingrained into the Marvel Comics staff has bled up to the MCU because the ingratitude continues. And it also seems that Kevin Feige has gone to the Tim Miller School of Film Promotion. Just in case you don't remember, a couple of years ago at Comic-Con, Tim Miller said that Terminator Dark Fate was going to scare the F out of misogynists. Then, after the film...
So are you going to bat for misogynists? Are you saying, oh, he said... He came for the misogynists. We didn't start this fight. I mean, they didn't. I don't hate women. I just don't want them in movies.
Flopped, he said this.
So I'm proud of the movie, and it's just bad luck or bad timing or hubris on my part by thinking that I've got my finger on the pulse of fans, nerds everywhere, and maybe I don't.
We see article after article. This is going to be Me Too Black Widow. This is going to be a Black Widow film about the persecution of women. Wow, that sounds fun. Can't wait to take baby boy to that. What?
So your complaint is simply that comics are about things. That they might not, that it isn't just like a fantasy where the two toys fight each other for no reason. It might relate to something in the real world, and you might learn a lesson, something that applies to your actual life instead of like the superhero adventure world that you'd rather be looking at. Is that the complaint? I've never seen a movie for that matter that didn't have a message.
Wasn't that long ago. Kevin Feige could do no wrong, but it looks like his best days might be behind him. And hey, if the MCU ends today, you cannot take away what the man has accomplished. It's the greatest franchise ever created. And as of yet, he has not had a
greatest franchise ever created.
failure, but based on what I've seen so far, and we haven't seen any real numbers from any of the D+ shows, it's not looking too good this year. And it was only a couple of years ago when Scarlett Johansson was calling out PC culture in Hollywood. I did a video on that, but since then, it seems both Scarlett and Kevin Feige have gone to Bohemian Grove, done their mock sacrifice to Moloch, and join the cult. Black Widow.
What the fuck? He just dropped some like straight up tinfoil hat Illuminati shit just now. Like he had that picture of Bohemian Grove on his hard drive already. He didn't have to go search for that. The Illuminati is making Kevin Feige put black people in Marvel movies.
Star Scarlett Johansson claims women are undermined, underserviced, underappreciated, and underpaid and ungrateful. So says the...
Yeah, they should be grateful for being undermined, underserved, underappreciated, and underpaid. Maybe if they said thank you for all of the oppression we're doing, we would give them more money.
The multi-millionaire adult pretender. So we are well on our way into the MCU in a couple of hours.
My guy, your job, the thing you do for a living, is to comment on what they are doing. You don't get to like talk about how privileged they are, how their job is just pretending for a living. It's just getting up and pretending to be Black Widow. They're not doing the important work like I'm doing, like criticizing them.
Hours away from the beginning of Marvel Phase 4. Disney Marvel thinks they've built...
This guy goes to the political cartoon school of joke writing, where it's every word has to be rewritten in code. The demon rats are up at it again.
Built up enough capital to start messing with their product and pushing the boundaries by using them as vehicles and platforms for social awareness and representation, when you can do both with good storytelling, as long as that comes first. With all the boxes they concern themselves with checking, they keep missing the main one: fun. But to hell with all that, the Black Widow and Loki both passed the Bechdel test.
I mean, I thought Loki was pretty fun. I didn't think Loki was dour. I didn't feel like I was being lectured watching it. They had giant space lizards in one scene. They had a crocodile Loki. It was a very fun show.
What's the Bechdel test? The Bechdel test, also known as the Bechdel-Wallace test, is...
Oh, here we go. Listen to this shit. Listen to this shit. The Bechdel test. You've probably never heard of it because you're not familiar with like any feminist critique of anything whatsoever. So let me explain it to you.
It's a measure of the representation of women in fiction. It asks whether a work features at least two women who talk to each other about something other than a man. The requirement that the two women must be named is sometimes added according to the user-edited databases.
See, here's the thing. If you had to reverse it, right? It had to be two named male characters have to have a conversation about something that is not a woman, like all media passes it. And the fact that so few movies do the reverse, the fact that so few works of mass popularity that can't manage this extremely low bar is damning, right? Women, and you can check my math on this, are about half of people. So it would stand to reason that half of the characters in movies should be women. Ergo, like half of the cast is just systematically locked out or made to focus on the male characters who drive the story. Just think about it. Think about whether, rather than simply doing a silly voice when you read the Wikipedia article, think about whether the criticism has merit.
And the media industry press, about half of all films meet this criteria. Media industry studies indicate the films that pass the test perform better financially than those that do not. Strangely enough, there isn't a link to any information to back that statement up, but I am sure.
Yeah, but like, if they're user-edited databases, how would you cite that?
Sure, they base it on films like Captain Marvel, and they think it's actually a successful film because of the Bechdel test and not because it was sandwiched in between two of the most...
No one is saying that movies succeed because they pass the Bechdel test. It's a correlation because women are more likely to be interested in a movie that people relate to. It's not simply that, like, once word gets out that this movie passes the Bechdel test, it will become an overnight success.
Most anticipated sequels of all time. So Kevin Feige has sold us out. He got what he wanted out of the real comic book fans. We are no longer necessary. Now this is normal.
Real comic book fans like me who don't like the comics anymore. Real comic book fans like me that hate everything about the comics. We're being shut out, and he's making everything just like the comics. How are we, the comic book fans, supposed to live with that?
Army nip and they think the best way to the normies is through representation and social awareness.
There's two kinds of movies, virtue signalers and superhero movies.
Well, as usual, you're wrong, Bill. Now there's virtue signaling superhero films. Now,
all of these superheroes trying to make themselves look like good guys. Why don't you just wear a big red cape if you think you're so heroic?
obviously, Marvel, Disney, Hollywood doesn't give a crap about your cause or your community. And thankfully, more and more of you are waking up to this every single day, waking up to the fact that you are simply being used as a shield from criticism and a giant distraction because they do business with a regime that commits human rights atrocities. And
I got to pee again. I'll be right back. All right, let's back up a little so we can hear what he was saying. He was about to get into real shit about how China commits human rights abuses, unlike cool countries like the United States that would never do such a thing.
Every single day, waking up to the fact that you are simply being used as a shield from criticism and a giant distraction because they do business with a regime that commits human rights atrocities. And I'm sure Kevin Feige might know about a few of those. Now, fortunately for us, and unfortunately,
Kevin Feige, why do you not control the actions of the Disney Corporation and the state of China? You claim to care about women, and yet injustices continue in countries that you have visited. J'accuse, sir.
For Hollywood, they are so disconnected from the general public, they haven't realized yet that the normies don't want this. They are tired of this. We all just want to have fun at the movies, but they'll find out eventually. Hollywood has had a break from the blockbuster. They have lost billions of dollars, but they have also had a break from the flop. And once they have a few, that's when things will change. And
Hollywood doesn't like flops. This is some cutting edge analysis.
The MCU hasn't had one yet, and they are due, and potentially they could have a couple this year.
Any day now. Any day they're gonna have a flop. Just you wait. I know I've been saying that since fucking Captain Marvel, but any day now they're gonna have a big flop, and it's all because they're woke.
In my last Marvel video, I said it's going to get much, much worse before it gets better because you can't turn these things on a dime. That's why we're getting America Chavez, female Thor, Ironheart, and Miss Marvel before we see Moondragon,
Before we get such famous characters as Moondragon.
The Son of Satan, Ghost Rider, Adam Warlock, the Fantastic Four, or the X-Men. But there's
We've already seen the Fantastic Four and the X-Men and Ghost Rider. They've already been in movies. We've already seen them. They've already had movies. Who the fuck is Moondragon?
There's no guarantee things are going to get better, but we are guaranteed for at least a year of the MCU, possibly more. Black Widow is on track to make $140 million worldwide, which was probably the original projection for the States. Obviously, we are living in a coof world right now, and Disney Marvel will be able to spin that in a positive direction, but I'm guessing next week is where it's really going to hurt them. And this very well could be Marvel's worst year, but somehow Kevin Feige will be able to avoid any criticism, although he deserves just as much as Kathleen Kennedy.
Why? What did Kevin Feige specifically do? You still haven't really answered that question.
It's kind of sad that we have to tear it down.
Maybe Kevin Feige was at one time.
I have to look up who Moondragon is. There's a lot of speculation I'm seeing in the chat that he meant to say Moon Knight. No, Moondragon, but Moondragon is a girl. This is Moondragon. She was originally Madam Evil. So, how come this character isn't... How come they're not... How come they don't... Where's their movie? More like Madam Sheevil. Yeah.
I'm a nerd of the people, but now he's just another Hollywood producer. On the outside chance someone from Marvel or DC is actually listening to this video, a quick story as we close things out. My youngest son, Nerdrotic Jr., was raised in a comic shop from the time he was months old to the time I sold it. He was in that shop virtually every single day. Obviously, he is a giant comic book fan and a huge Marvel fan.
As children often are.
We're about to see Black Widow, and he doesn't want to go. He's actually pretty bent out of shape, but he's going to have to take one for the team because I'm not going alone. Think about...
Oh my god. The self-ownage in this... Oh my god. Oh my god. Just... My young child doesn't want to see the icky girls, but I'm making him. I'm making him watch this movie that I don't even want to see. For some reason. That'll teach Marvel. Marvel, if you're listening, let me tell you a story. Neither me nor my son are going to watch this want to watch this movie, but I am going to give you money to go out and see it anyway. And that ought to teach you to stop making these movies.
About that just for a second. Your target audience, a 15-year-old boy, does not want to see a Marvel film. Let that sink in. If you like what you heard, please like.
This is the first for everything. Imagine that. A teenager no longer liking the things they liked as a child. Well, Marvel's in trouble if that's the way things go. Yes, that's true. What about Clamp Champ? All right, I think that's about all of this guy that I can stomach for one night. Boy, howdy. He's 50? 'What? 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 ' let's assume he had his kid early. He was like 20. That would make him like 35. That would make him about my age, a little younger. If you bump it up to 25, that still only makes him 40. 25 is not an unusual age to have a child. I think this he's 50 years old thing is hearsay. I don't want to misrepresent him. There we go. I assumed he must be joking about forcing his kid to see the movie. You did have some gray in that god-awful beard? I have gray in my beard. I'm not 50. I would assume at 50 your beard would be fully gray. Gary Buckler, born 1970, age 50 to 51, better known as Nerdrotic, is a commentator on pop culture. Oh, I just had a chill run through my spine at the thought of that man being 50. Just like wearing nothing but superhero clothes in his toy room. Just talking about how mad he is about baby movies. Oh. He looks good for 50. That he does. He definitely looks young for his age. Let's see here. Just gonna catch up on some messages. Russell T Davies certainly has stinkers, but so do all writers. Yeah, it's just that when he has a stinker, it involves the concrete woman still being able to blow the guy, which is something that I don't think many writers would let into their children's television show. I just kind of thought it was silly, but haven't seen it in a decade. I wish there were more frivolous episodic Doctor Who episodes. Yeah, it should. Doctor Who should be silly. You should be fighting monsters. It was a bad episode, though. A lot of it was dedicated to the Electric Light Orchestra for some reason. Nerdrotic, no one wants to see you be reasonable. I kind of do. Slime time. It's been slime time for a matter of hours now. Here's $2. Have a great rest of the stream. I'll do my best. Nat loves fighting games. I honestly don't understand how people like that. Oh, I read that one. It looks like he's making an attempt at film theory. It's cringe. Also, Mildred, can you call out to my cat? She doesn't have a name. Well, how would I call out to the cat then? Hope that helped. This $5 is for Bobby Duke, not for you. Yeah, Bobby has enough money. I'm taking it. I'm stealing the $5 from Bobby Duke, and that's fine. He's rich, and I don't know why everybody isn't mad about that. Slam, thank you for continuing to put out quality videos. You're welcome, unless that was sarcastic. That Bechdel test article had the comment, the lead paragraph cites sources only for quotations. There's a heavily cited section on finances below. Okay. All right. Bobby Duke is rich, but Grumbletum is emaciated. I know. Bobby Duke could save him. But Bobby Duke refuses to like and subscribe. thus putting Grumbletum in mortal danger. I dare say. Ambiguibot rated you earlier. Sorry if you saw that already. I did not. I tend to get absorbed in what I'm watching. It's an ADHD thing. I can't pay attention to so many screens. This evidently happened 23 minutes ago. Well, if any of you are still around, my name's Dot Slime. I make videos about feces, genitalia, slime, and other things typically considered ugly. I was once a kid like you until I found evil Gorgo's magic jewel, and now every time I sneeze, I'm a monster by mistake. You cannot buy likes and subscriptions. Those ones aren't good for him, though. Those are full of simple carbohydrates that would. He's got an allergy, so they gotta be real ones. You think I didn't look into that? What are my thoughts on Matter Eater Lad? Matter Eater Lad is the hero we need right now, and I don't understand where they give him movies to like America Chavez or She-Hulk. Well, we could have Matter Eater Lad and who's the guy? What's the guy that can take his arms off? He was in Suicide Squad. Is Caleb Maupin a sewer socialist because he wants to clean up the slime? No. I'm a sewer socialist. How dare you give that label to him instead of me? Thoughts on Sterner, Mildred? Sterner is one of those things who writes pretty... he takes a point that is pretty clear, muddies it up, and then everyone who reads him decides that they're going to play devil's advocate with you about everything, even though they ultimately agree with everything you say. And it's very tedious. Will I ever play Boogerman on stream? Again? You want me to play Boogerman, a pick and flick adventure? Maybe someday. Will Scaredy Cats ever cover Monster by Mistake? I've never heard of that. What is that? This is for Grumbletum. Eat up, buddy. I'll get it to him later. He definitely appreciates that. Arms fall off boy. Why is he called that? The detachable kid. That's way better. Will Scaredy Cats ever do the Ghoulies? No. I strictly separate the brains of Thought Slime and Scaredy Cats. The Ghoulies are a Thought Slime meme. Grumbletum should learn a thing about a thing called bootstraps. People wave this money around their head to motivate them. Well, the thing is, he's so little. He's tried to make it on his own. He just needs a helping hand, you know. We all been down in the dumps sometimes. Poor little Grumbletum. What is this orgasmic music? This is the chiptunes from Stream Beats. Mods? What are you saying mods about? I'm not seeing nothing. I'm not seeing nothing. Could I beat Caleb Maupin in a rap battle? I have to think so. I have to think so. Yes. If nothing else, I talk more quickly than he does. Oh, I see. It's because your message didn't get allowed. Do you think Caleb pauses when he sings? I doubt he sings. He does incredible impressions, but I doubt he sings. He doesn't seem like he has a lot of joy in his heart. Breaking news, internet drama news for real Caleb heads. He's had a falling out with Jason Unruh, Mouse Rebel News. So that's going on. That's very funny. Should I buy the iPad Mini 6 from Micro Center for $20 less than MSRP? See, I misread this comment at first. I thought it was an iPad 6 for $20 and thus assumed like iPad 6 must be like several generations ago, so they're giving away for practically nothing. And that's a good deal for even like the first iPad, but probably not. Unless you want an iPad, in which case do it. Go for it. Get yourself an iPad. Play Candy Crush or whatever. iPad 6, this was... Let's see. 2018, so that's not too long ago. This doesn't seem worth it to me. How much is a refurbished iPad 6? $300 for a 32 gigabyte tablet in the year of our Lord 2021. No, do not buy this thing. Send Bobby Duke to The Hague. That's a bit much. I don't know if he's done war crimes. Although he did work with Barack Obama, Duke, so maybe. iPad Micro 6. It's newer. It sounds small. There's an iPad Mini. Is that what you're talking about? Because that one, they don't have the 6th generation out yet, apparently. You'd think I know these things, all the fucking Linus Tech Tips I watch. Which episode had Barack Obama, Duke? I missed that one. That was during the ill-fated spy arc that Bobby went on. These royalty-free music sound like Mega Man music? I think that is the intention, yes. Does my promo code for Magic Spoon still work? Might work soon. I was also wondering, are you open to fan art? I know some creators prefer not to get any or have it done be a mascot for dysphoria reasons. Go for it. I don't really understand that. I think I don't have a right to tell you not to draw something. Draw me. I would like to see it. Probably email it to me because I don't accept notifications on Twitter, but yeah, I've never really understood that. Like, why are you okay showing your face but you don't want people to draw your face? It has to have a big old butt though. Yes, you'll see tomorrow my stance on this is that everyone should be free to draw big old butts. I can only wear my glasses for so long. For some reason, if I'm looking at something close to me, they start to give me a headache. It's been like that since I was a kid. Thank you for the laughs. Please give this to Grumbletum. I will make sure that he gets it. I will make sure. Hopefully he gets it in time. Some people get really weird about it when they draw fan art and people want to avoid artists feeling like they can claim them, if that makes sense. No, and I'll go even further. You draw me, that drawing belongs to you. You can do with it whatever you want. I don't give a shit. I don't have a right to artwork that is based on me, I don't think. I like to, I flatter myself that I have a right to the shit I make, but you know. The thing is, like, I give it away for free anyway, and I still make money, so what do I care? Also, they can accentuate features that make you dysphoric without meaning to, I imagine. Yeah, I suppose, but like, it's anyone can get an unflattering drawing made of them, you know? Like, I've definitely had drawings drawn of me where I'm like, oh, I don't like how I look in that. But, you know? Okay. I don't like the way my face looks either. So I can't really get mad if people draw it the way that it looks. Tablet laptops have failed miserably, so I don't see tablets having much of a space anymore. I don't know. My old Surface Pro still gets some use. I think the Surface Pros are pretty good. I haven't had one. I mean, the one I bought was used, and I bought that like 5 years ago. And it still holds up. Like, it still works perfectly. Like, it does everything I want it to do. You drew me, and I love it. That's another thing. What a hypocrite I would be if I didn't let people draw me. And here I go, drawing people all the time. I'm always drawing people. Simply because they asked me to and gave me money to. Grow the beard again? Say it with me, folks. You're not my friend, and you have no say with what I do over my body. Hi, Thought Nerd. You're getting a timeout. It's not silly to ask. It's a boundaries thing, and I don't think it should be treated like it's silly. The reason I think it's silly for me specifically, like if I was just some random person, sure, that would be weird, and it would make sense to ask, can I draw you? But the fact of the matter is that, like, I have a YouTube channel where 250,000 people have subscribed. Like, people see my face every day. I think it is a little weird to go, I want to be a public figure, but I don't want you have a drawing. I don't want anybody to enjoy my face enough to draw it. The dean asked me to inform you that you should stop devouring TAs. Well, look who just does everything the dean tells them to do. The dean told you to jump off a cliff. Would you do it? Muhammad did that though. Yeah, but you know, I guess I've never really said this before, but I want to make it clear that I do not think that I am as important as the Prophet Muhammad as a person. So just so that I've said it. $1,000 CCs to Grumbletum stat. Again, he'll get it tomorrow. He comes by once a day. He doesn't like to be on stream. He thinks it puts him in a, you know, he's not good on his feet, and especially nowadays he's quite weak. I mean, the only risk of allowing fan art is the inevitable result of giving the internet free reign to draw art featuring you and your characters, the horny. I suppose that could be a concern for people that someone would reasonably expect that other people would get horny about them, but it is not an issue for me. I do not face a great deal of horniness in my career online. One second. My wife needed something in the room. Do fan artists ship TS with Grumbletum or Bobby? Typically Bobby. Grumbletum is a little animal, so that would be weird. Is it the same wife as mine in Nerdrotics? No. Is that a baby pic of Mildred in the background? That's me, right there. Eating some McDonald's. Younger folks growing up on the internet need to be taught about healthy parasocial relationships now more than ever. Yeah. A lot of people have boundary issues. It's something you notice. Like, hold on. I'm trying to find a middle ground here. There we go. So like, a lot of people will like ask you to do things or offer you criticism in a very forward way, or it's like I don't know you. like yeah, I know that like people always go, oh, you're a big account, like you should be able to take criticism from people, but it's like, yeah, but I'm just a guy, like I'm just some guy. Like the fact that I have a lot of followers doesn't necessarily make me better at dealing with weird insults. It just means that I have to do it more often. It's, you know? So like people will even sometimes like valid criticism. It's just like people will do it in this really vitriolic way, and then if you go, hey, that's weird, it's weird that you're this mad, they'll go, oh, you're not gonna listen to my criticism, you're tone policing me now? That's like, no, I just think you're being an asshole to a stranger for no reason. I saw this guy, like I saw this huge discussion that was triggered by the fact that I had a sponsor in a Scaredy Cats video where people were like, oh, he makes enough, like he doesn't need more money. And it's like, fuck you. Like, who the fuck are you? Like, I guess the idea is that you become desensitized to it eventually. I mean, you do, but I still think it's a disingenuous argument for people to say, oh, the reason that it's fine for me to like turn my filter off and be as mean as I want to you is because as someone with a lot of followers, you are like a bigger entity, and thus I'm punching up. It's like, no, I'm just one person. We're both one person. I'm sorry that the pandemic stopped me from paying you money. No, absolutely never apologize for that. And never pay me if you can't afford it. Or if you just don't want to anymore. It's perfectly fine. Nobody owes me a goddamn thing. And that's kind of my point, right? Is like is my mic in the figure 8 pattern? No, it should be in cardioid. Yeah. It's in cardioid, which is the butt or heart, depending on which direction you look at it. It is like, no, none of you, I don't want to give the impression, there's a lot of reasons that people donate for, that I think I wish people wouldn't donate for those reasons, and if those are the reasons, I kind of prefer that they keep their money. One is that the idea that they owe me anything, because you don't. I'm just some blowjob making videos. You watching them is as much, compensation as I require for that. And two, the idea that I'm going to somehow like usher in the future leftist revolution that they want. No. And that's why I've kind of like moved away from making more overtly political content, because like I think it gave people that impression, and I don't like that. I don't feel comfortable with that. So I kind of just step back and go like, I'll just make silly videos where I make fun of nerdos. My mic is clipping when I say peas and carrots. I took my pop filter off and then I moved my mic closer to myself, which is probably a mistake. You're not going to dissuade the impressionable from silly impressions? No, but I don't think it comes out of nowhere. And I think it's important for me to be aware of my role in it, right? I think it just as it is like, I can't stop people from having weird ideas about me, but I can certainly stop myself from actively feeding into it to the best of my ability. Yes, I'm playing with a little fidget toy. I can't sit still without doing that. That's fair, but I don't think you should beat yourself up about it. I'm not beating myself up about it because I go to great lengths to be careful about it, to make sure that I'm not doing that kind of thing. And I'm not going to name names, but there are certain people on this platform and other platforms that do present themselves as money given to me is directly contributing to like a future for the left, which I think is ridiculous. Like if you wanted to give money to a leftist cause, there's so many out there instead of like a YouTuber. Like, don't get me wrong, I think what I do has value, absolutely. And I welcome people's donations, but like, not on the grounds that they believe that in doing so is activism, because it's not. And what I do isn't activism either. Would Nerdrotic go mask off, be a total racist/sexist if he's talking with his chud friends? To a degree. I imagine he's the type that doesn't see himself as a hateful person, who thinks, genuinely thinks of himself as not racist, not sexist, but also is unwilling to like do any sort of introspection. Literally passing the buck is odd. How am I passing the buck? If anything, I'm clarifying my position. Is, you know, it's weird that people get mad at me when I do this. People get mad when I say, hey, don't give me money if you expect this to happen. You should save your money if you expect this to happen. People go, oh, what a scammer. Like, no, if I was a scammer, I would say, give me money. It's the only future for the left. Like, that's what I would do if I wanted to grift people. Why does my background music sound like Lady Gaga's song 912 from her recent Chromatica album? I don't know, take that up with Harris Heller, who wrote the music. I don't listen to real music for adults. I listen to songs about wizards. By thinking they're doing activism by giving it to you instead of a charity or a cause? So you think they're passing the buck? That they expect me to take their money and then use it for activism? Instead of drugs? I don't think anyone who donates thinks they are funding the revolution. They just like you, Mildred. You are likable. Yes. And the reason that none of them believe that are because I've gone out of my way to dissuade them from believing that. I've gone out of my way to clarify that that is not going to happen as a result of my actions. Because if I didn't, there would be some people that did think that. Have I listened to Glory Hammer? I have listened to a lot of Glory Hammer. Unfortunately, they did recently get mega canceled. What did Glory Hammer do? Google it, man. It's bleak. What's my favorite power metal band? Well, it used to be Glory Hammer. Here, you don't need to start a revolution, don't worry. I'm good if I can. It's just like, I don't know. I remember there was, when I made my video about Thought Slime 3.0, there was someone who was like, oh, these people will stop at nothing to grift you. And I thought it was so weird that that's the video they said that about, because it's like this video where I'm like, hey, I'm changing up what I want to do, so if you want to get off the Thought Slime train, now's the time. That's the one where they're like, you tricked me. If you were going to fund the revolution, what would be the first thing you would do? Nice try, officer. Not answering that question. If Glory Hammer is in trouble, that means no Ailstorm as well. Yeah, I mean, every problem has an upside. All right. I think it's about time that I wrapped things up. I want to thank everybody for watching it. Oh, wait a minute. I almost forgot. Rob Elliott's Laugh Out Loud Jokes for Kids. What's the smartest animal? It's a snake because nobody can pull its leg. Okay. I'm going to read this joke last because it's... I don't even want to read it. I want to show it on camera because it's the worst joke I've ever seen. What's the best way to communicate with a fish? Drop it a line. Why couldn't the elephants go swimming at the pool? They kept losing their trunks. How would an elephant lose their trunks? I ask you. Why did the sparrow go to the library? You're looking for bookworms. What did the dog say when he rubbed sandpaper on his tail? Rough, rough. What is black and white and red all over? A penguin that's embarrassed. What do you call a pig that's no fun to be around? Don't say a cop. You know that Rob Elliott didn't say a cop. I said not to say cop. The answer is a boar. What kind of fish can perform surgery, do you think? A sturgeon. What kind of sea creature hates all the others? A hermit crab. Okay. I want you to take a look at this joke. Two men went deer hunting. One man asked the other, "Did you ever hunt a bear?" And then in parentheses, the punchline. The other hunter said, "No, but one time I went fishing in my shorts." It's not a good joke. Why did you... It's just a bad joke. I'm just upset about that joke. They didn't do a good job. What do you think Zotz is up to right now? Let's find out. I'm going to send you over to Zotz. Don't tell him about the joke. He won't understand. He doesn't like jokes. But thank you for another wonderful stream. I hope you all have a beautiful night, and I hope you get presents for being so good.